And we are live. I learned to wait this time. Hello, everybody. Greetings. Oh, there's the audio. Turn that up. Lolly ho, Jelly Bean. Mama, good to see you, glad to have you. Sarah, good to see you, glad to have you. Greetings, fellow sapiens. I should be awake, but I am so joy. Well, Issa, I miss seeing you and talking to you, and I'm glad for your new occupation and your ability to have great security in your life. But let it be said that I deeply miss speaking to you on the reg. You know, be how life is sometimes. Fades in. Hello. Hello, Auroria. Good to see you, glad to have you. Stream sharp hype indeed. Hello, Deathberry. Good to see you, glad to have you. I'm having a better day. I'm gonna be honest. I'm still woke up still very, very, very tired, but doing a lot of different practices that are helping me to be able to get my days going a little bit better. And any improvement is, as far as I'm concerned, is a huge room for extreme joy. Hello, indeed. Yes. Good afternoon, nerds. Hey, Demons. That includes you too. Hello. Good to see you, Destinium. And just because I know you guys went mad with it, I'd like to remind you that the newest emote is Slope. And also, if you become an Archon, you'll have access to all of these wonderful emotes. And the next one we'll put up is probably Ray Banhammer, depending on what people are into. Let me put that away. Cool. So, because we are all caught up on our jobs for Heaven's Word, because we've got Dragoon done now, we will be doing our warm-up. We're gonna do Odin. So I'm gonna do the prerequisite Odin quests, and then if any of you guys want to join in for Odin, that's what we'll be doing. I'm always into being hammered. Not you too, Issa. Tethys is away for one day, and all of a sudden Issa's pulling the. Do I have to do anything besides talking to him for Mogomog and the others? Let's just talk to him, see if I unlock Extreme automatically. By thy deeds were the people of Kurthus spared certain doom at the hands of deiform entity. Yet if the missive we have received from Lord Rilmont of House Durandare speaketh true, 'twould seem the hard-won respite hath come and gone. Recovered from her wounds, the Lady Iceheart hath rejoined the struggle against Ishgard. Worse, 'tis said that her disciples have already laid claim to a hoard of crystals, a hoard far exceeding the quantity but recently wrested from the caravans of House Fortoms. 'Tis all but certain that the heretics' mistress intendeth to call upon Saint Shiva once more. And so once more must Eorzean blade of light be brought to bear against a primal. None saveth thee hath might enough to defeat such a foe. 'Tis for this reason that Lord Rilmont hath requested the presence at Whitebrim Font. Pray, he thee thither with all haste. Okay, no, I actually do have to unlock it. Well, I'm just gonna pick them up anyways then, so I can go do those later. Lord of the world slain at thy hand, 'twas a deed both heroic and historic, a tale to be told down the ages. I fear, however, that the terror of the indigo deep did slumber but briefly in the ethereal sea. The maelstrom hath assured me with unhappy certitude that Leviathan doth stir from the abyss once more. Should this indeed prove the case, then we face a most troubling and chilling predicament. The Lord of the world is a voracious being. Not less than a treasure trove of crystals would serve to lure the entity back to our plane of existence. 'Tis folly, then, to believe the sea-bound beastmen could gather such a haul with such impossible alacrity. The Sahagin, I believe, have been entertaining Ascian guests. The threat of unprecedented magnitude now loometh over Limsa Lominsa. Take thee the swiftest road to Maelstrom command, and offer thy stalwart service. Thy shining light must needs illuminate the ocean's darkened swell. Chat widget's not reading YouTube? Yeah, no worries. That happens sometimes. We just gotta refresh it. And it'll be fine. I did not set chat to subscribers only, but I can. Let me pull up the guidance of Tethys. I'm sure they put it in moderation discussion. It was a little while ago. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now no more bots. Huzzah! Dobby! Shock Doc Dobby bombs! Indeed. Amber, good to see you, glad to have you. We're just doing some preliminary setup. We're gonna do our warm-up is gonna be getting the quest for Odin. Amongst Mughal-kind, the legend of good King Mughal XII doth tell of a wise and magnanimous ruler. Alas, the entity thus summoned put the lie to this imagining, with his brief and decidedly unpeaceful reign. 'Twas more disturbing for me to learn that the Mughals' guard have once more succeeded in placing their manic potent upon his thorny throne. Methinks the agents of chaos doth lurk in the shadows of this deed. Only with the Ascians' gullible intervention could I have called the king back from the aether with such haste. As ever, it falls to thee to the blade born of light, to banish the paragon's dark ambitions from our realm. The 12 only know what dire power doth corrupt the savior of these gentle forest folk. Thy name has been called, Elio. The more moderate faction of the Mughals hath joined with the Order of the Twin Adder in an effort to open thee a path to the good king's domain. I bid thee, make haste to the Adder's Nest once more. Pledge thine aid in deposing the royal myth made flesh. Oh, bots. Kichi, good to see you, glad to have you. Yeah, it's always trying to sell some adult websites, but don't that be how it goes. Primal fear. What's the... Friend to the dawn, hear my plea. Tidings most ominous arrive from Gridania. A primal walketh the shroud. Those who have borne the eldritch spirit witness, and return to tell the tale avow that ne'er before have they seen its like. The gods' quiver doth investigate as we speak, and meseems Bow Lord Lewin would welcome a capable adventurer's helping hand. Pray, hie thee to the seat of the first bow, and shine thy light upon the matter. They all went to horny jail. It is decided the stance of the Scions must evolve from the shifting sand to the unyielding stone. My place, however, is here, in this land of unending tragedy. Ere must I remain until the true nature of the primals is revealed unto me. Many seasons did I toil to fashion a net across this vast realm, a net that catcheth not fish, but nuggets of wisdom more valuable than gold. Yet even possessed of the hoard of knowledge, I cannot perchance purchase all the keys to confounding doors that bar my passage. Thus I must presume to unsheathe the blade born of light. Thine is a strength that shattereth the stoutest barriers, and doth pierce that which obfuscates the important gauge of ordinary men. We have not the luxury of time required for my measured scholarly pace, for the Adder's Nest is astir, hissing with the news of Garuda's return. Her winds have grown ever more violent, ever more destructive. What lieth beneath the sudden waxing of power? The answer may well prove a vital piece of the puzzle of the primal's existence. Mine eyes perceive a looming wall of strife, poised to crash down upon our cities with unrestrained fury. For the nonce, you must pacify the Lady of the Vortex. Swiftly now, to the Adder's Nest. High Serpent Commander Helio will have such details as thou needest to proceed. I shall await thee at the waking sands, and pray for thy success. I need to switch back to warrior. How's everybody doing today? Boom. Tethys, good to see you, glad to have you. We want to go to the Shroud. Since I'm awake already, I'm working on collab stuff. Nice! Always nice to have more channel stuff going on in the background. Should probably pull up this. Primal Fear is what we're looking for. Doing okay. Today, trying to stay busy at work. How about yourself? I am doing better than yesterday, and that's a win. Still tired, but doing well. I've got a list of work I need to... Well, I've got a list of stuff. I had a migraine yesterday, and I might even feel one coming off today. I've been having a lot of migraines lately, but I'm feeling it's been impossible to focus and get work done, which has sucked, but like I'm starting to be able to get back into the pace, and what I'm really excited to do is get to a place where we have like a surplus of videos done ahead of schedule, and then we can try to do other fun stuff as well. So yeah, things are going pretty okay. And if they're getting better, then they're going good. Doing good, just saw you were streaming, so I decided to pop in. Well, I'm glad to have you, Kichi. Usually the beginnings of the streams can be a little bit slow just as people trickle on in and we get things going. But yeah, I hope you have a good time. Work giving me worst deadline on something not so fun. Oof. Silver, sorry, man. That's rough. It's funny, all of you guys always mention work, and it always makes me interested what everybody does for work. Professor, good to see you, glad to have you. Doing good. Taking you, Issa Tethys, and a couple of others through on my quest to create a barony and Pathfinder Kingmaker. Nice! That's super cool. ACE, good to see you, glad to have you. Lately, I've been thinking about how important world building is in making a story, the balance between showing and telling. Yeah, that's the thing about world building, right? Is that you end up in a situation where, one, world building is different than history building. And on top of that, a world does not a story make, and a world does not a narrative that compels you to care for characters. A world is not characters. And so, at the same time, you want to be a part of worlds that feel alive. They are only in so much service to characters that are compelling and engaging and meaningful. And then it's like, it's also difficult too, because at the same time, there's also so many people obsessed with creating vibrant and, you know, thick worlds that it can be a lot to take in, right? So being able to onboard people too can be a whole thing, you know, because Tolkien, not that there wasn't a crazy world building and stuff beforehand, but like Tolkien comes around, defines modern fantasy, and then so many people take the wrong lessons away from Tolkien, and then you see how that begets a problem of world building disease or history building disease, not focused on that they exist to serve a function. Forgerant, I have heard much of your deeds in recent days. You've come to lend your strength at primal investigation, yes? Your aid is most welcome. I shall proceed directly to the matter at hand. Though still unsubstantiated, ill rumors stir amongst the town people of late. Rumors of a shadow-clad knight who rides in the shroud. Under normal circumstances, I would pay such idle ghost stories little heed. This time, however, we have reason to suspect. But we have not to gain by rushing to judgment. I would have you go to the streets, Forgerant. Speak with the people and hear their words with your own ears. I've actually been doing the same, AC. I just found out I'll be able to run a game of D&D that's been on hiatus since COVID and I've been struck by inspiration. Awesome! Awesome that you get to go back to playing it, and awesome that you've been struck by inspiration. Nothing better than when something you're excited for comes to you with ease rather than having to fight for it somewhat. Oh. Ooh, here. The Ghost Knights! I saw him, clad from head to toe in armor that seemed forged from shadows itself, galloping through the shroud atop his hellsborn steed. Mark my words, the trees themselves were quivering in fear that night. I've not slept a wink since I returned. Okay. Also, you guys, how many of you guys are caught up versus not caught up? Because I'll avoid talking too much about the subject, but how many of you guys are excited for the 6.2 live stream? Get that 6.2 trailer. Aubrey, good to see you, glad to have you. Reminder that we always stream the live stream, so if you're interested in doing having the live streams where I also will read off the live translations as well as try to catch little things with the limited Japanese I have, feel free to join us for that. Yes, I saw the Black Knight, after which I promptly fled for my dear life. Should you end up in my position, you'd be wise to do the same. I have my pride, but I am not fool enough to cast my life away. Besides, one look was enough to know, this manifestation of pure evil. Were he to turn the massive sword against Gridania, all of our lances as one could not hope to stand in his way. Very excited. Good. I'm so excited for the 6.2 live stream. I can't even explain. That's so interesting. I need to replay 6.1 because, like, don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly excited. But, like, also, I guess, having done living Final Fantasy 14 every day now for well over a year because of, like, literally doing it for job and stuff, too. I can't tell if my apprehension around it is more to do with just, like, being tired. But, like, I am super excited, but I'm not feeling the hype yet. But my hope is I'm going to see that trailer and I'm going to be like, yes! I'm so excited for variant dungeons, as everyone saw with Sildy Subterrane. I'm going to be interested to see if the story progresses along the lines that I'm fairly certain it's going to be progressing along. Yeah! Oh, wait, it's a Lothal. I gotta flip the coin. We going high or low? Yeah, don't sneak up on me like that, friend. Forgive me, ever since espying the glimpse of the ghastly horseman, my heart won't stop racing. I know the elementals would punish us sooner or later for daring to disobey their will. This is surely a sign of sinister happenings to come. Definitely excited, but I've not played Endwalker yet. Well, here's the thing, though, right? Is that even if you haven't gotten to Endwalker yet, knowing that there's more story that's ready and created ahead of time for you to be able to engage with once you get there, it is just as exciting. I mean, I remember I was not caught up to Shadowbringers when I was not finished with Shadowbringers when 5.3 came. I think when I finished it as 5.3 came out. So. Oh, Mama, thanks for becoming an Archon. Welcome and enjoy your lovely, lovely emojis. I still need to catch up on raids, but I'm so excited. Have you not done Pandemonium yet, Jellybean? Because I totally do those with you. Pandemonium's just fun. Completely caught up. I find myself doing lots of New Game Plus or trying to remember all the things. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, hell, that's why we're doing the MSQ replay. I mean, well, and also the lore, to, like, make more lore notes for future use. I'm starting Endwalker, but spoilers for that patch are what made me play Final Fantasy 14, so no worries. Well, there you go, Amber. That's fascinating to me that spoilers are what made you get into that. I wonder if we can talk around what those specific spoilers are, if you can, like, obliquely mention, because I'd be fascinated to know, like, what spoilers made you go, yes, I now want to play. How rare is it to find a horse rider in Eorzea? Horses are not hyper common. They exist. But they're more typically relegated to, like, more legendary and mythic status for, like, the horses that you get from doing the EX or Realm Reborn trials. So they're really more, it's really chocobos are the beasts of burden for pretty much everyone. Although I wonder, maybe we'll go to another reflection and horses will be normal. The same way that Amuro Amuro don't take the place of chocobo. That's not really true. But, like, because chocobo still exists on the first, but you could wonder. I think feeling apprehension is fair. Lots of possibly big stuff. Changes, new things can always be worrying, even if you're excited for it. I'll be honest, I'm never stressed about the changes. The changes I'm perfectly excited for. Changes, even if, like, let's say my main gets, like, changed in some way that, like, I'm not happy with. I'll try a different job. It's mostly just, like, I think, what I think it is? I think it's because 6.2, that trailer's gonna come out, and after that stream, I'm gonna immediately need to make a impressions reaction to the trailer, and when 6.2 comes out, I'm gonna have to make a video on 6.2 reaction. Like, I think it's more just, like, the work that I'm gonna have right after it comes out is what's making me, like, a little bit, like, rather than, yeah. But I still got the yeah. Destiny, funny enough, I'm not a big fan of conventional magic systems because they're overused. I like the unconventional ones with a twist. I mean, what defines an? I'd be curious, AC. What do you mean? What defines an unconventional magic system? Because obviously there's the soft and the hard systems, but it's like alloymancy of something like Mistborn unconventional, or is it because it has a hard system of rules and engagement? Is it relatively conventional? I'm so happy that we'll get more dungeons and Trust 2 support systems. Yeah, it's super exciting, Kichi, definitely. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to... maybe we'll even hold off from going into 5.5 for an extra... Well, no, because we still got, like, what, 22 days? So we might, with Heaven's Word, we might end up getting to the dungeons before... Yeah, well, either way. But yeah, I'm excited for the new dungeon as well, for a ton of reasons, and a ton of footage gathering reasons as well to use for future videos. I prefer watching the trailer myself than watch the live streams. Sure, yeah. We can totally do raids together, Jelly. Yeah, absolutely. The Alra ride horses in steppe, if I recall. They do. There are horses in the steppe. That is absolutely true. They are one of the few places where there are more normalized beasts of burden. They not only ride them, they are native to the Azim steppe. And actually, let me catch up on you, but there's a little bit about them in EE2. Thanks for reminding me, Aubrey. The whole ending sequence, I watched it streamed out of context. It was just so beautiful. I wanted to know the story and get something like that. I am always fascinated when people are of different positions about what can engage them in the stories. To see the ending and think, I want to engage with that, and to happily have that be fulfilling that's awesome that you can do that. I know that I would have been frustrated if I had saw the ending out of order, but like that works for you is great. The steppe uses horses, yeah. Ah, yes, the majestic horse bird. I call Namazu quest with horse mount. Yes. I've only done one boss of Panda and none of Agalea. My partner's work schedule's been hectic and we're trying to open them together. I might have to take you up on... No, definitely, Jellybean. I love playing Agalea and I love playing Pandemonium. So we literally, I'd run those with you like maybe tonight. Well, I don't have time tonight, but tomorrow or Thursday, either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, I would love to be perfectly happy to run those with you. Would it surprise you to actually play through ARR through Shadowbringers completely unspoiled? And let me tell you, YouTube tries and Twitter. I started around at the time of 5.2. Actually, I will say, I think so. Typically, the spoiler culture on 14 is pretty fucking good, and it's been a little bit less so since the great joining of everyone around 5.4, 5.55, and like the late 5.x patch. But they're actually pretty good compared to a lot of other communities. I'd also say that like there is a certain amount that you get past a certain point in the story, and like you like a certain level of normalization. Like people know Emmett Selk is a character. The important context is the specificity of the things around him more than he's a character. Yeah. This is like the third time I've heard Brandon Sanderson mentioned today. Well, I mean, he's a good touch point. Like in terms of like modern fantasy writers. I love some of his works. I don't love some of his other works, but he is a phenomenal writer. Even whether I like his stuff or not, regardless of whether I like his stuff, he is a phenomenal writer. You cannot argue that. And I mean, he also does one of the things that a lot of my favorite fantasy writers do, which is that some of their best stuff is not even their fantasy novels, but the essays or things that they write. So like one of the things he does is he has like a bunch of like fundamental rules about writing, and one of the ones that's an obvious axiom, but still it's a razor that most people don't apply, is that weaknesses are more interesting than strengths. And I think that's always an incredibly important thing to remember. Let's find that Azim steppe entry, shall we? Here. So horse. Amongst the people of the Far East, is believed that the Alra of the Azim steppe were the first to keep livestock. They initially tamed horses to serve as mounts, and it was this achievement which led to Alra's decisive rise to dominance over the plains. When the Rain subsequently departed their ancestral home, they took with them the knowledge of rearing and riding horses to the lands beyond the steppe. So actually, horses, to some extent, do exist in Othard as a whole, though we don't witness them very frequently, if I recall. There's another interesting passage on this a little ways in. That's on the steppe. I mean, one of the main things is the steppe groups. So like you have the Goro tribe of the Zela. Which they have like ceremonially marry their horses. So a young woman of Gurbesu of the Goro, a young woman of 20 summers, Gurbesu injured in a skirmish with the Matanga and separated from her tribe, only to be later saved by the Datak. Sorry, she traveled with the tribe. Sorry, the Datak I think are the ones who do this, not the Goro, or maybe it is the. Let me. I forget all the Zayla names. She traveled the tribe for a time, searching for her people, and was fortunate to find them in time to join them, in time to confront the Matanga and their almighty regent Ajana in one of the greatest battles the steppe has seen in recent memory. No, I think so. I think the Datak are it's good the Goro that do this. Yeah. Bian of the Goro, which is a horse, husband of Gurbesu, and whom he was wed upon her coming of age. According to his wife Banyan. Banyan is a quiet, mild-mannered gentleman whose only failing is perhaps his competitive streak. Regardless, she loves her 4-year-old husband very, very much. It's been so long since I've spent a lot of time in this steppe. I totally forgot about all the horses there. Humans are not being able to use magic like it being done external means, or that magic is actually highly advanced technology replacing the need for magic. Oh, yeah, I guess I see that as pretty conventional at this point. That, like, that concept has been pretty, like, honestly, I don't see, you know, I mean, one, it's not Asimov. Is it Clark? The quote, you know, like, any technology sufficiently advanced seems to be magic. Like, I feel like that, especially in the past 20 to 30 years, has become pretty rote at this point, but, you know, maybe that's just my jadedness. That's my point about horses. They're not using Eorzean yet, are more plentiful than other places. Yes! I was just, so how rare is it to find a horse rider in Eorzea? In Eorzea, pretty rare. It's pretty rare. I mean, the only people who brought, you know, the Zayla created it. The Rain brought the art outside of the steppe somewhat to Othard, but we see none of it in Ilsabard as far as I can think of. We don't really see any of it. We don't see it in, like, Baja particularly, or Zadnor or Dalmasca as a whole. We do know that Chocobo exists in those places. And we don't, you know, we know that for a fact that Rain and Zayla were not particularly common within Eorzea as a whole. It's better than some others, but when new Ultimate dropped, I was like, that's Heaven's Word related, isn't it? Yeah. Dragon Song dropped, I was like, that's Heaven. Yeah. I mean, like, there's a certain amount that you can't, like, but again, also, like, the thing is that Ultimates aren't typically huge spoilers. I mean, there's the Dragon Song Ultimate one is a little bit more because of certain events that happen in Heaven's Word, but I would also argue that, like, other than certain key points, it's not, like, just seeing certain things out of context aren't spoilers as much in and of themselves, I would argue. It's especially, like, with Dragon Song Ultimate, like, there's a couple of things, I guess, but, like, you would literally have to be watching a video of it being played through, because, like, it's trailer, like, no one thumbnailed any of the major spoilers, and you really can't thumbnail them. And, like, arguably one of the major spoilers isn't a spoiler because it's literally told to you in Binding Coils, and on top of that, it was used in the promotional art, so, like, even Square Enix didn't think of it as a spoiler. I saw him clear as day, or clear as night, you might say, with me own two eyes. More fearsome than the rider was his ghastly steed. I know not where ye've travelled, but I can assure you, you've not seen some more frightening beast. One thing I can tell you, friend. This was no spectre or shadow, nay, he was as solid as you or me. Back, okay, back. If you want to join us for doing, Odin, we'll meet up at the tea tree after I get him unlocked. I'm doing the own quest right now, lol. I was the Mikoke Bard. Oh, okay, yeah, I saw it, yeah. Yeah. I saw you run by. A king's clad in shadow-forged armor, a mammoth swords and hellsborn steed. It is clear now. Our worst forebodings have proven most unfortunately prescient. A ghostly knight atop a baleful steed. It is as I feared. The rumors bear a most inauspicious resemblance to the references in ancient scripture, describing Odin, the dark divinity. It is speaking of magic that is based in actually in technology. It is my suspicion that the dark horseman of rumor is indeed Odin, and furthermore, this is the malevolent presence and is a primal. And yet before the God's Quiver takes action, I would seek the counsel of one versed in the holy writings. Make for Quarrymill and seek out brothers Oapasi, and I would know what he knows, and be swift, Forgerant. If Odin is truly come to the Shroud, time is not on our side. Catherine! Good to see you, glad to have you! It was more because I didn't have the keywords blocked on Twitter because I didn't know, and the oops, fan art spoils. Oh, yeah, I mean, like, yeah. Okay, to be fair, like, I'm not, Twitter I always kind of, like, Twitter is, like, designed to spoil unless people don't share anything at all because of how Twitter works. So like, I guess I don't use Twitter as much, so I don't think about Twitter, and I kind of like assume if I'm going on Twitter, I'm gonna get spoiled, and that's not even like the fault of people not trying to be careful. It's just like you couldn't make fan art, you couldn't make this or that, you couldn't like, because Twitter will just throw it at you. But yeah. My wife requires my insistence. Everyone enjoy. Yes! We'll hopefully see you later, Isa. Donkey should be made a mount the way you can overlay Eddie Murphy's voice for clips. That's a thought. I mean, like, we could see donkeys potentially or something like them. You could see that come out of the New World or Mericidia, or, I mean, like, or another reflection. You know, like, there's still so much time for so many things to be present. I made Elio spear-wielding frontliner for my party. Isa's a mammoth-riding barbarian. Teth is actually healers, which is summoned to heal bot summoner support. Nice! Aubrey, I ran Odin Unsynced a bunch to get gear and paired it with Quintrell's skirts, dyed gunmetal black to match. It's called fashion. No, but I don't have a Twitter account, though I do have Twitch Discord. No, oh, so, Catherine, I think someone was talking about Twitter spoiling, but yeah, I have a Twitter account mainly to follow one person, and that's just about it. And then we have the Eorzean Archives Twitter account, but I don't tend to be the main person running that. I do post on it sometimes. Elio of the Scions. Might I deduce from your stern expression that you have heard the disturbing news? Oh, wrong one. Garuda returns once more to plague our nightmares. I fear this incarnation of the lady is most impetuous than aught we have yet witnessed. If you're prepared to face this rolling storm, then I will be brief on you on what must be done. Cool. Now I can set that aside. Do you like what we do? Consider showing your support and sign up for our Patreon at www.patreon.com/Eorzean-archives. Get your name in the banner up above, or all sorts of other fun rewards from that. You know, the people of the Far East would love Odin, or should I say Odin? I mean, to be fair, like, his horse, though, isn't even, like, really an organic being particularly. I tell myself I'm not a horse girl, but I just think Odin is neat and cool. I mean, Odin is neat and cool. Odin's always been neat and cool in every incarnation that Odin's ever existed in. And also, Odin's interesting in this incarnation. It's probably one of the more interesting incarnations in this version. I am Opa Pesi, and you must be the adventurer I've been expecting. Oh yes, Odin, the dark divinity. Oh, Lord Lewin is understandably distressed at his arrival. As one who has read the scriptures, however, I am not entirely surprised. Odin, as the ancient writings have it, rode forth into our world wielding a dark blade capable of cleaving earth and heaven in the heavens. By his fell blade did perish earth herself and countless multitudes of her people. At long last, a great hero of Alag did arise to do battle with the dark god Odin. Odin was slain and his spirit sealed within the forest spring. For years, this was thought to be a mere wives' tale, a ghost story told by mothers to frighten their young ones into obedience. But recent archaeological studies at the Allagan ruins have unearthed damning evidence to the contrary, and now these rumors, the scriptures claim that the dark divinity slumbers in the earth's font, deep in the heart of the shroud, where the power of the crystal confines him. I have ventured into the forest and seen the crystals with my own eyes, but this was many, many years ago. It was entirely within the realm of possibility that something has gone terribly awry, and the fetters of the crystal confine the dark divinity no longer. I would send you to Earth's font to investigate the matter, but be forewarned, your path will not be an easy one. Should any evil spirits stand in your way, this water of cleansing should avail you. For any of you guys who started doing Eureka, or got a ways into Eureka, you may, some of this may be familiar, as this is tied into that. Tweedle, tweet, follow our Twitter. Thank you, Ray Ray. I love horses, but my chocobo is always going to be my fave. Yeah, you gotta love a chocobo. Speaking of, now that we have a station, I gotta dye milkshake to be an appropriate color of milkshake. You know, let's do a poll real quick. I'm just, this isn't binding, I'm just curious. I'm sure I accidentally typed on something and I'm doing that really fast. What flavor? Well, that's exactly what the poll is here for. Chocoberry. I wanted to say because Elio's a basic bitch, but it was too many characters. It's interesting, you don't see crystals like this anywhere else in the game that I can think of. Oh, interesting. It's a Ashkin. That makes sense. I wonder if it's actually a soul of an Alligator. I said chocolate, but in my heart I meant Roland Berry. You don't have to say it because I posted the picture in Discord. That's exactly why I voted the winner too. I'm gonna go set up Bravura as after this. I'm gonna go set up Bravura so I can get my elegant axe, and that way I will be able to actually be max damage. Genny, good to see you. Glad to have you. I wonder how the Far East feels about the 12 in comparison to like the 4 lords. Do they even mention them? No, because they don't. So the 12 aren't a part of their religion, but also the thing is that especially like it's tied into like how like if you look like historically how Shinto, they're just like, yeah, they're your gods, whatever, you know, like for them, especially in a world in which like many different gods do like practically in a sense exist. To them, they're not like part of a pantheon that they worship, but they wouldn't be like, no, they don't exist. They're just like, yeah, I mean, we have the kami, like we got a fucking bunch of different gods, like. Yeah, and those are just like your guys' thing. But yeah, they don't worship them. As far as we know, 12 worship only existed within Eorzea. There's no reference to it existing in Ilsabard in any context. Far East doesn't seem to worship them in any context. The closest you get is Alag having some kind of 12's practice that, and then having them conquer the other two continents of the 3 great continents. Which means that you could have potentially seen some sort of relic left over of some kind of 12 imagery in Ilsabard or Othard, but I can't think of any. I suspect the Domain refugees learned at least about the 12, just that it's not their gods, they're coming to Eorzea. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a good, I mean, the same way that a lot of people, some people in Eorzea know about the kami. I mean, some don't, some do. I mean, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they know about it. Oh, Tethys! Thank you so much! Everybody getting their emotes. Okay, looks like we're going with vanilla for milkshake. Y'all about to get some emotes? The crystalline jail that held the Dark Divinity in check. Were you able to ascertain what has become of it? Sundered Binding Stone. The stone may have been the one thing preventing the other. Primal Odin, Odin's return to Eorzea. Now the stone is destroyed. Magical energy still remains in the stone, though its powers have grown dim. What's more, behold how the stone has been cleaved clear in twain by Odin's fell blade. There can be no doubt. Yes, there can be no doubt as to the identity of our unwelcome guest, and yet it is all the more almost curious. If the Dark Divinity rides free, why does he tarry in the shroud? Any road, you are to be commended for your bravery, adventurer. Simi is preparing a report on this very matter as we speak. I would be most grateful if you could share your findings with her as well. There you go. And, of course, they all go to the sloppy. No excuses now. Everyone's got to get sloppy. Sloppy! Thank you so much, Tethys. A wawa. A wawa indeed. Also, the 4 lords I don't believe are technically kami in the same sense one might believe. Well, so like the thing is that what it means to be a kami is a very broad and nebulous notion. So yeah, they could be classified as kami. Because the thing is, so for instance, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. But like the thing is that auspices still would fall under the purview of kami. They're auspices, so maybe a divinity of sort, but not sure if they're a god. The thing is that kami doesn't mean god. Like, there's a misunderstanding of what kami means as a notion. Kami basically can mean god, divinity, spirit. Like, it is a broad, encompassing classification of many different groups. So, like, you can have kitsune spirits that exist as kami at the same time that Amaterasu is a kami, or Tsukuyomi is a kami. So, like, the thing is that I would have to triple check this in game, because the thing is, if you're using the real world understanding of Shinto and kami and stuff, which is basically what 14 seems to use, I would still say auspices definitely classify as kami, undoubtedly. However, if 14 does have a hyper distinction between them, then maybe less so. But it doesn't necessarily seem to be that there is that case. You're welcome. I want my BBQ emote now. We will get. I'll go message Lady Darkfire right now. Also need. Are we doing a Lalafell getting BBQ put on them, or are we doing Tethys with the BBQ bottle? Byakko? I mean, yeah, Byakko is an auspice, the same clip. From what I hear, kami require a lot of worship. The religion is very demanding. Okay, to be fair, like, actually, I would say that that's the antithesis is true, but the pun is good, Des. Good to see you. Glad to have you, by the way, Des. Are the 12 auspice kami then? Okay. There's a lot of complications to that question. So, what defines a kami, and what defines an auspice? What defines an auspice seems to be rooted, at least an auspice specifically, a being or object that is imbued with sentience of some form as a byproduct of aether being imbued into over time, whether it be due to memory, soul, or anything else. The question in and thereof is that something that happens outside of Othard? And the thing is, we don't necessarily bear witness to that happening outside of Othard. So there seems to potentially be a byproduct of the fact that the creation of auspice, like the creation of primals, is also beget as part of faith in the concept of it happening at all. That might not be true, but every example that we see seems to make that true. So, are the 12 kami? No, not in a strict sense. And could a Othardian, a Hingen or a Domin see the 12 and be like, refer to them as a kami because it's a catch-all term? Yes. Strictly speaking, though, it wouldn't exactly be accurate. Now, you also need to talk about, are we talking about the 12 as they're conceived of by most Eorzeans? I would argue pretty much no, because the conceptualization of them, again, as a god is separate it's not a monotheistic sense, obviously, but like in a pantheonic sense, is separate from the kind of the conceptualization of the kami as a natural part of the world by Othardians. However, you could still loosely apply the idea. What about the primal that overcarts now? Well, that's a primal. Are primals kami? Well, I mean, Tsukuyomi is referred to almost as a kami. Susanoo is referred to as a kami, but are they kami or are they primal incarnations of the kami myth? Right? In which case, I would say they're not necessarily kami, they are incarnations of the idea of the kami, which tracks with the passages we get in EE2 about Susanoo, for instance, which is that, or Tsukuyomi, which is that their myths are actually slightly different than the actual entity that we bear witness to. If I can find it real quick, and if I can't, we'll move on. But so then the other thing is that what about the entities that we exhibit and experience in Myths of the Realm? Now, they could potentially be something like an auspice. They could have been things that were imbued with memory and aether and faith over time that came into being in a simpler sense as an auspice. I don't think they are. I have strong speculation as to what they actually are. But with that granted, okay, yeah, here we go. So Though Susanoo is a prominent presence even amongst the Amatsukami, there exist myriad interpretations of the entity itself. The Kojin, for example, believe the Lord of Revel to be Tsugumogami, whose essence is divided between several sacred receptacles, a belief which was borne out when 3 potent relics were gathered together to summon a primal incarnation. Ishtal of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn insists, however, that the primal should be considered nothing more than a faith-fueled manifestation of the Kojin's own conception of Susanoo, as opposed to a definitive proof of the Kami's true nature. So, with that granted, yeah, I would say that it is not necessarily applicable. Lesser Kami. Lesser Kami? Well, wait, what about Lesser Kami? Do you mean are the 12 Lesser Kami? Because if anything, the 12 are greater than almost any other Kami we don't meet any Kami. We only experience primal. I mean, we meet auspices. We meet the auspices in which you could treat as Kami and therefore are representatives. But as someone who plays Shin Megami Tensei, hearing angels called demons, you immediately understand that Japanese doesn't translate one-to-one. Yeah. Many turns around anything theological doesn't translate into English from Japanese directly for a bunch of reasons that are both linguistic and cultural and historical. Yeah. Alphino with BBQ poured on. From what I understand, the Kami are something lesser reside in a thing of worship. The 12 don't have physical items that they reside. No, so the Kami don't necessarily reside in a thing of worship. They can, but they don't necessarily. The 12 don't have physical items they reside in, as far as I know. It's not accurate, but not incorrect. So the thing there, though, that's important is that that's not to be a Kami, you do not need to reside in a thing of worship. That's part of being a Tsukumogami. That's like a specific type of Kami. Yeah, at least what we're told in game and what we see. No, so that's true of Susanoo, or like, for instance, Tsukuyomi's symbol of a faith of worship is a creation, it was a focal point for the creation of her as a primal. That is not the myth for them. Sorry for complex. No. Thank you for asking complex questions. There's nothing that makes my day more than answering these questions and talking about this with you guys. So please, thank you for asking. Thank you. Emphatically, thank you. Not wrong to call the 12 Kami, just not accurate. Yeah! But like I still don't think that even captures it necessarily, because I would say that it's more than just not wrong to call them 12. I would say you could have an Othardian specifically see them as part of the broader pantheon of the notion of Kami, but I don't think I would say that, like, if an Eorzean called them a Kami, that would be weird, and that would not only just not be accurate, that would be, like, I would argue wrong. Yeah, I love complex questions. Hey Chris, good to see you, glad to have you. Yes, he does. I do. I mean, yeah, the auspices. Yeah, I would treat the auspices as the notion of like a lower rung of Kami, like because of the idea of a Kami being very all-encompassing, and just the fact that they're denoted as auspice is it does not remove them from being classified as a Kami. It just places them in a specific subcategory. Hey Molly, good to see you, glad to have you, and also I hope you enjoyed the gift of membership from Tethys. In some interpretations, angel and demons are of a similar origin, like demon descendants and origin. Yeah. I mean, that's also the other important thing, is that a lot of mythologies, including inside of 14, is interpreted differently by different people, as we see between the Kojin, the Domans, and I'm sure even the Domans and the Hingans have different understandings. Like, also, people can be Kami. So, for instance, actually, there's another passage that's really relevant to this. So, literally, I believe it's a Doman. I don't think it's a Hingan leader. I think it's a Doman leader. Yeah, mortal gods. So, there are instances of men and women powerful or influential in life who ascend to godhood after death. So, for instance, also like, oh my god, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. I mean, not Toyotomi Hideyoshi, really, but Tokugawa Ieyasu, basically, in effect, functionally is considered also a Kami in real life. However, the path... As is true for many Kami, however, the path by which they arrive at this status is not always the same. There are those whose mortal deeds were recognized by higher powers, their souls invited into heaven and granted divine station, till others refuse to move on to the afterlife, some great purpose binding them to the earth and empowering their spirits. This last example is especially prevalent when the cause of death was untimely or violent, as in the tale of the murdered general whose vengeful specter stalked and slaughtered every last person associated with his demise. Charlene researchers question claims of divine ascendancy in such circumstances, suggesting that many of these once mortal Kami would be more accurately classified as undead spirits in Eorzea. There's also an entry on auspices. I'm seeing if they refer them specifically as kami. An integral part of Far Eastern folklore since ancient times, an auspice is an animal that has ascended to godhood. Yeah. Okay, so it specifies animal, not object as well. So it would be worth pointing out that Tsukumogo, what is his name? I'm forgetting his name. He's a Tsukumogami. He's the like Kojin doll. I forget his name. Anyways, legend tell of birds and beasts having outlived their ordinary lifespan by decades attain a sense of self. Over the course of thousands of years, such creatures gradually amass a mystical strength until one day they awaken to powers of divine magnitude. Auspices are considered deities in their own right, as awe-inspiring and respected as any of the kami. So like that gets a little weird because that denotes auspices as being somewhat separate, but also puts them in the same wheelhouse. The ascended animals are, however, plagued by dual nature when the boundless claim the Nigitama come to the fore, and auspices often serve as benevolent guardians, protecting the people from malicious entities. So, like, also, like, and, like, evil entities can also be kamis, too. So it's not just as simple as, whoops. There we go. Kudos for saying the same, right? For some reason, people think it was pronounced different due to spelling. Like Tenzin? Which thing? Saying which thing, right? Remembering stuff from college's course, Japanese history and religion. I'm trying to fit it in with 14, and oh man, my brain is spinning remembering all of it again. Well, it's a great conversation. You know, I have expected Orochi to be a primal battle in the Far East just due to its description as one of the most powerful demons of Japanese legend. I mean, but like Ryu, Seiryu is, there's a lot of aspects of his fight that is rooted in the Orochi myth. So like, we do get part of the Orochi myth, absolutely as one of the trials. Also, remembering the stress from the buttload of reading we had to do in that course. Yeah. So it is indeed as we feared. The seal of Earth's font has been broken and the dark divinity rides again. I must draft a report immediately. My name, it's in... Oh, your name. Yeah. Totally. Glad I could get it right for you. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Your assistance in the investigation has proven a valuable adventure. You have our thanks. I only asked because there was I was reading so many Japanese names. With your aid, I have finally managed to complete my report, a thorough survey of all eyewitnesses' reports along with the most incredible theories regarding the dark divinity's presence in the shroud. I intend to deliver copies of the reports to Brother Oap-Pessis and Bolor Lewin myself. The Scions, too, will no doubt be eager to learn of our findings. I would be most appreciative if you could deliver a copy to Eorzean in my stead. My duties demand that I remain composed, but in all truth I fear for the fate of our people, should the time come that the dark divinity draws his blade against Gridania. Promise me that we can count on your aid. Aye, lad. I promise you can rest on... Actually, where is... all you wanted to know about? Okay, I gotta go back to... He said go back to Eorzean, but I wasn't sure if he... But yeah, no, Ganny, thank you for the lovely question. I mean, my primary thing that I love to do for replaying this is talk about the lore and discuss people's either like questions or things that they like didn't understand or want clarified. And like, even if I don't have a good answer, I love to try and discuss it or take what we know and try to come up with a reasonable hypothesis, if not theory. Kudos for saying my name right. Yeah, okay. Now I see it, Molly. How close are we to the Game of Thrones moment in 2.5? We are about to enter into 2.5. Well, so that's 2.55. And we will get there in not today, We will get there, I believe, Monday of next week. Elio, I'm most heartened by thy safe return. Wert thou able to cast light on the shadows that haunt the shroud? So it is true. Having awakened from nigh eternal slumber, the dark divinity now rides free in the shroud. While you wist afield, I immersed myself in the scriptures. The more I scoured the words, the more I did realize the writings draw heavily upon elegant historical chronicles. History is quite a fascinating beast, is it not? One nation's glory is another's suffering. One nation's great hero, another's most abhorrent villain. I mean not to speak in platitudes, only to say that there is never but a single side to any story, even a story that is presented as historical fact. To what end did the great heroes of Alag seal Odin in a jail of crystal? What impels the dark divinity to ride once again? Cast thine light on the shadows of history, friend, that we might be delivered from the darkness. Where do you go to unlock it? Odin unlock. Is it New Gridania? Yeah, that's Lenosia. Scarlet and New Gridania is what it says. There we go. Okay, if you'd like to join us for Odin, meet at the tea tree and on Crystal Curl. If you don't know where that is, I will be going there momentarily, as I also need to equip my, I need to equip some bis. Elio, your timing never fails to amaze. Unless I'm mistaken, you'll have knowledge of the elder primal Odin, correct? As I thought. Well, as you know, we have long pursued the dark divinity from the pages of arcane scripture to the shroud itself. Finally, we have a plan to put his prowling to an end. Brother Oap Pepsi has a command. He has personally requested your aid in the venture and awaits you at Earth's Font. I'm sure he'll give you the details once you present yourself. Godspeed, Elio. It's also interesting that Earth's Font is in the South Shroud. I mean, it's the northern part of the South Shroud, so it's still the Shroud, but you get to the southern part of the South Shroud, and it's technically would have not been under the purview of it. So it's just on the borderland of the protective region of the elementals. Is Odin's armor important, or is he solely the sword? He is solely the sword. The armor is just an embodiment of basically affecting the individual who holds the blade. Adventurer, thank you for your coming. We seek the dark divinity, and you must be made privy to the plan before the game is afoot. As you know, Odin hunts in the forest. We would banish him from the shroud, yet in actual fact he has fallen before countless adventurers already. By all rights, the primal should plague us no more. Yet though again and again he is vanquished, he rises always to charge through the Twelveswood. His constant reappearance is perplexing, to say the least, and raises two questions. Who summons him, and how does he change his visage upon manifesting? Odin is alone amongst the primals in these aspects. Indeed, I can find not a single sentence in the scriptures that sheds light on his devilish abilities. There is no answer in words writ of the pen. Now the sword must serve. Our plan is to send a band of adventurers against the dark divinity. Brother Isumiyan, my master, and I will observe the battle from afar. We believe seeing the moment of Odin's defeat may give us a clue, one that will lead to uncovering the truth of the primal that escaped us thus far. Naturally, this hinges upon the company's victory. No one but a warrior of light could hope to survive the battle, hence I have asked you here. Indeed, without you, our venture is doomed to failure, so I implore you, lend us your strength. If you acquiesce, I shall invoke the power of the elementals and draw the dark divinity to the spring. Thank you, Ray Ray. Thank you, Tethys. I need to go back to Lenosia. It's pretty early in the day, so I wonder if we'll get a full party. Oh! Oh! Well then. Look at you, lovely people. he's also just AFK. Okay, so I'm gonna go equip my best in slot. If anyone would like to join us for Odin, we are on Crystal Curl, and you just have to come here to the tea tree, and I will invite you. I need to go to my room because I think I need to actually. I don't think I have. Oh no, I don't think I can put Bravura in because it's not the final level. Right. I forgot that that's how the. Well, it's fine. We should do enough damage. And I won't be a warrior for much longer. And if you're interested in coming and joining, Tilly, are you one of the people in chat, or is this just random Lalafell hanging around? Because Lalafells do be doing that, though. If you're interested, I'm still stuck in crafting hell. Brian, good to see you, glad to have you. For anyone who wants to join us, we are about to go do Odin. I'm gonna go get some, a different flavored drink. If you'd like to come join us. Oh, it's Yukichi? Okay. Let's send, invite to party. Send friend post. And then I'll be right back. Jubilant, good to see you, glad to have you. I would join, but I'm still at work for the next hour. No worry, Deathberry. I mean, we've still got the Chrysalis later, too. So, Deathberry, if you want to join for that, you'll be good. Potatoes do be hanging around, though. It's true. Is that Ganny? Invite to party. And send friend request. Oh, unable to send full. Okay. What are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, cool. We'll be able to fill. Can we get one person to either do a healer or a tank? Unless there's someone else. Chris, yeah, if you want to come join, cool. Then we'll have 8. For people here, can we get one person to switch over to healer or tank? Thank you to Cindy. I'm sorry it's always you who's got to flex into tank. Invite to party. We like to party. Anyone have a healer? Also, I know, don't lie. I know you have a healer because you have summoner. Unless, I guess you haven't done the quests. Oh, now we fighting. Okay. I'm going to say... Okay, cool. Tilly's doing that. Then we're good. Let's do a ready up then. For those of you who don't remember how to fight... for those of you who don't recall... Odin is... He's not quite an EX, but he is a little more complicated. It's not really complicated. Just avoid the AoEs, really. But also remember that to keep your damage up. I guess since we're all going to be Biss, it's not going to be a problem. I bet this will go fine. It's okay, I got a level paladin anyways. Yeah, no worries. Cool. Sounds good, thanks. I got a Barony to set up. Have fun with Odin. It's a shame they never made an extreme so you could get the fate items. Fate items? I'm not sure what you mean. See, having a scholar level 90 and knowing how to play scholar level 90, that's true. But to be the scholar level 50 is you're barely doing anything. But that is true. I don't think I've fought Odin since like 2018. It's like a truck. Okay, get ready. He's gonna start doing AoEs, and it's gonna swap from this. Well, there's a delay. You're not gonna be able to hear me. It's so funny that this used to basically be considered like a pseudo, like almost on par with the extremes. I mean, like the balancing was different then too. So like, there's obviously doing good, guys. We're doing good. Oh, okay. All DPS now. Limit break if you got it. And we got it. Good job, everyone. I like to make Eos earn her keep. Fair. Oh, did anybody? Oh, one of the new fan book designs is lovely. It's this very simple book tome, but on it is the two sides of it are the two fairies. It's lovely. So yes, this is the primal, and technically, this is a part of another primal. There's a special fate for Odin, and he drops stuff that you can exchange for a copy of his sword and a full body version of his armor. If you minimum item level him, he gets close to Titan, in my opinion. I love Odin Fate. I always pop when I'm gathering stuff in the Shroud. I don't think I've ever done the Odin Fate. I don't think I've ever done the Odin Fate. I don't think I've ever witnessed it. Maybe that'd be a fun thing to do for like community night, is try to get fates that we hadn't, that people want to do that they like haven't been able to do. Don't forget that if you want to join for Chrysalis later, we can get. Oh, we're already at 4:08. Well, let's get going with the MSQ, shall we? Over an hour in. Good warm up, everybody. I remember trying to do MSQ and just a storm of people running over for Odin. Nice. Just curious, how often are the Patreon Discord roles updated? Absolutely no rush, just wondering. Oh, no, so you just have to let me know. So the problem is that there's no, it's not attached to it, and I don't necessarily get immediately alerted if someone joins the Patreon. If you've joined the Patreon and your role needs changing, you just contact me, Issa, or Naniri. Usually me or Issa is best. In fact, typically, you know, I'm probably the best person. So Brian, if you need me to change your role because of that, just let me know, and I will get that fixed for you. To the MSQ. It's so fun. I'll keep the Sleipnir barding on my Chocobo forever. Nice. Thank you all, everyone, for joining. Much appreciated. Okay, I'll do that. I'll show you DM. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, especially right now when I'm a little bit swamped. It's actually a lot easier if people have something of import that they need to, like, for instance, if you have a lore question for, like, Endwalker spoilers or lore discussion for the Discord, feel free to @me. It makes my life easier to, like, have that alert to go check it than if I, like, just need to be checking it periodically. I am most eager to address the Ascian threat. However, we dare not neglect our other pressing concerns. We both know full well that Saint Shiva will not be the last primal we face, and our relationship with Ishgard is still tenuous at best. To think that the resolution of the primal threat was once the sole priority of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Some days I wonder if it was wise for us to take on so many other responsibilities. Lest you forget, antecedent, the Scions need not shoulder the burden alone. Were not the Crystal Braves established for this very reason? True, we are presented with a multitude of problems. However, we have all the resources we need to address them in turn. Elio, in particular, is ever a steadying hand, who I trust will continue to support the Braves. To what do we owe the pleasure? Have there been further developments regarding the situation in Ul'dah? As expected, the Immortal Flames have been struggling to cope with the revelation that one of their highest-ranking officers was a Garlean agent. Suffice it to say, Teleji Adeleji and his monetarist ilk have wasted no time in attempting to turn the situation to their advantage. Coupled with ongoing unrest, the Flames are finding themselves hard-pressed. Plainly, General Raban needs our help, and I will direct the Crystal Braves to offer what support they can. If I'm to stay abreast of the latest developments and issue effective orders, however, I can't afford to waste time traveling back and forth. And so, for the foreseeable future, I think it would be at best if I were to remain in Ul'dah, unless you have any objections. None whatsoever. We have matters here well in hand. Moonbreeda's research is proceeding as planned. So she tells me, though I am not familiar with the details. Urian J is poring over his tomes at the Waking Sand, and the others are contributing in their own ways. Alas, the key problem, how to form an ethereal blade at will, remains unsolved. Nevertheless, it is only a matter of time. Elio, while we focus on that task, mayhap you could assist Alfino and his Braves with theirs. It would do much to restore the faith in the Immortal Flames if the Warrior of Light was seen working on their behalf. Never forget that your esteemed status allows you to act in ways that those more tightly bound to organizations and nations cannot. As ever, I implore you to do so. Not that your response was ever in doubt, but I humbly thank you once more for aiding our cause. Now then, there are preparations I must attend to before my departure, such as receiving Real's latest report. He has proven to be skilled at gathering information others wish kept secret, hence why I placed him under my direct command and ordered him to investigate Ul'dah riots. When you are finished here, join me outside. Depending on what he has to say, I may soon have a favor to ask. If there are any developments on our front, I shall inform you at once in the usual fashion. My esteemed status? Man, IDK, I'm just a cat. I don't know, if you ask the people standing around the Laments in Aetheryte, I'm pretty sure Mikote have a pretty esteemed status. Just saying. We should talk to NPCs. Oh, hello, Elio. Are you sleeping well? You must be absolutely exhausted from saving the realm on a daily basis. Ever since Moonbreeda arrived at the Rising Stones has been a buzzing with excited energy. I must admit, her enthusiasm is rather contagious. Moonbreeda has charged us with acquiring some rather esoteric manuscripts, but I'm afraid the task is proving to be nigh impossible. When the City of Learning was abandoned, a great many tomes were scattered and lost. How smoothly our research might proceed if we were able to peruse the archives of yesteryear. We need a rare ore to modify the white auracite, and Thancred solved the problem using only his link pearl. I mean, it's great and everything, but what's the fun in that? When one is in need of precious commodities, it helps to have friends in right places. Fortunately, I am well acquainted with the charming daughter of a successful Ul'dah import merchant. We were but striplings adventurers, the night we saw fire rain from the sky, and a pallor of light scorch the heavens. What a sight that was, eh, Coltonay? Oh! Hori Boulder and Coltonay both have the echo. Hori and I were in Eastern Thanalum, the Colossal... Oh, no, they're talking about the Seventh Level Calamity. Hori and I were in Eastern Thanalum when the colossal shards of Dalamud pierced the ground. We stood witness to the subsequent explosion of Aether and watched dumbfounded as the swirling energy solidified into these twisted crystal structures that we know so well. These two have been telling me stories about the corrupted crystal formations that appeared following the calamity. I'll need more data before I can draw conclusions, but I'm intrigued by the potential of their untapped energies. I wonder if that will come back up. Just Forrest Gumping my way through life, and for some reason people keep trying to kill me, so I hit them with axes. Pleasure as always, Elio. You'll be escorting the commander of Ul'dah, I take it. Actually, I had another task in mind for him. If you would be so kind as to report for his benefit. Right then. Me and mine have been making inquiries into the source of the weapons what found their way into the refugees' hands a way back. So what happens we caught wind of something promising. A rather large purchase of sharp and pointy things by a black marketeer holed up near High Bridge. I doubt this man would have secured such a quantity of weapons if he did not already have clients waiting. Clients that, for whatever reason, would prefer for this transaction to remain secret. Brings to mind the merchant what caught an arrow while talking to Elio, don't it? Generous fellow he was, doling out swords and spears to downtrodden and disgruntled. Which isn't to say that these clients have the same mischief in mind, but what if you want to be sure, might be prudent to intervene before they collect their goods, savvy? Seizing the weapons before they fall into the wrong hands would be for the best. However, if we struck at the appointed hour, we might capture the black marketeer as well as his clients. What say you, Elio? What say I? I say nod. Then it is settled. Rendezvous with Captain Ilbert at Highbridge and intervene when the exchange takes place. Now then, if you would excuse me, I must leave for Ul'dah. I expect good tidings. Can we get to Stormblood already when, like, well, I mean, like, Heavensward has some of it, but, like, dialogue options don't really get active until, like, 3.x and Stormblood. I hope Hori doesn't have the echo, or else he might accidentally see Aenor Cockburn's fantasizing Ascians. I mean, there's implications that he's already been a part of Aenor Cockburn's fantasizing sessions. Just gonna say that. What do you guys want to do for community night? I mean, I guess we could probably just do more Moogle Tomestones. We probably should just do Moogle Tomestones up until the Moogle Tomestone event ends. Unless anyone has something particularly pressing. I wonder what Domin's retracted. Well, if he was directly involved, then they obviously weren't fantasizing sessions. I mean, there's... she's definitely down hard and with Ochre Boulder, but there's implications that potentially she may have seen both brothers at once. Ah, Elio, my scouts have been keeping a close eye on the Black Marketeer, and it would seem that his guests have arrived. It would seem that he has hired more than a few men to stand guard, common thugs of no consequence, but they nevertheless pose a threat. Even so, I feel compelled to apologize. This is far beneath a man of your standing, and Commander Levior did needn't have it dispatched you hither. But a powerful men ever have needed loyal, able-bodied friends. Having found one in you, it's only natural that he would come to rely upon you without hesitation. Yeah, it was awesome when we finally did get more dialogue options later on. Dude, there's a bunch. Starting when she arrives onto Endwalker, that she's gotten tons of dialogue. Get it, girl. Yeah, her sister. Let's just say that some of that may have happened in a tent right next to her sister's tent, and her sister is maybe a bit chagrined to find out the truth of it. She's definitely disappointed the brothers are splitting up at one point. Yeah. Now then, we should make for the burning wall without delay and secure those weapons. The first unit will ensure the clients do not escape. With me, Elio. Burning wall. I wish they had given these falls a fucking name. They gave the Burgundy Fall a name, but they didn't give these falls a name. I spy the one man, but there are others to be sure. I've a plan. While you approach the sentry and create a distraction, my men and I will slip past and catch the black marketeer unawares. Once you've disposed of the thugs, wait for us outside the tunnel's entrance. Any questions? Then let us be off. Good luck, my friend. I'm going to have to work in an Aenor Cockburn joke next time we play Quiplash. Dude, there's a lot of Aenor jokes you can... It could also, you know, joke about being, you know, Aenor wanting to be stuck between two boulders. Who goes there? An adventurer? Damn fool. You should never have come. You shouldn't have let me sneak up behind. Pix is my favorite god. You gotta love a god. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Or arguably stuck between two rocks, hard places. Pix is a very important thing to show you. Very shiny indeed. Junk of Holplex has many jingly shines. Oh, you know it'd be fun to do like a vocal, get like people together and do a vocal performance for all of the dialogue for each like raid that doesn't have any dialogue, like Alexander or something, because yeah. I don't understand. What's all this about? Ah! Oh, funny thing about the Odin fight, that AoE around the boss, Valknut, does like 60% of your max HP. You can die to that at any level, provided you get hit twice. Interesting. Interesting when it's percentile based. That also makes a lot of sense. Because I was like, oh, Dimins! Thank you for the $10! For Gabi Voices service dutifully rendered. For Gabi's Voices services dutifully rendered. Wait, do I just do the entire next cutscene also in Gabi voice? Do I just do Elbird in Gabi voice? I think I do Elbird in Gabi voice. As you can see, this is a fan mess. When I tried to restrain him, he drew a hidden blade and lashed out. But before I could disarm him, one of my subordinates panicked, and this is the result. How foolish of me to underestimate that bastard and to bring in an experienced recruit. Commander Lavier will be most disappointed. Damn it all, a golden opportunity wasted. As for the clans, though we know not how, they slip past our perimeter. At present, the first is currently tracking a party of Duskwhite sellswords we suspect may be them. Would that we could have enlisted the aid of the Immortal Flames or the Brass Blades. Alas, we were here to aid them. They're in no position to aid us. Well, at the very least, we have secured the weapons. Yet even that accomplishment is lacking for information we received to indicate a massive shipment, and this is anything but. There you go. Alamegans are just really tall goblins. I mean, have you seen under their mask? Lalathos are just undressed copies. I mean, look at, I think if you check out Jellybean, I think that might be true. I will join the first in their hunt for the Duskwhite sellswords. If the gods are good, then we will catch them before they escape into the Black Shroud. In the meantime, I ask that you deliver these weapons to Ul'dah in my stead. Entrust them to the third Yu-Yu-Hase. We'll take care of the rest. It's so funny. Never ever would I have ever noticed the name Yu-Yu-Hase if it weren't for A, the memes, and like, now replaying it and remembering the way that Yu-Yu-Hase does play into a little bit of the story as a minor character. No, steps in null. Jellybean is most adorable Gabi. It's true. Jellybean is most adorable Gabi. Gabi! Yu-Hase is a character all the way to 4.x. Oh! Does he show back? When does he show back up? I literally have no memory of him showing up in 4.x. Does he show up with the stuff around. Actually, no one say anything. Don't spoil. Just say anything as spoilers. Yeah, okay, he's there in Heaven's Word. Yeah, I remember that in Heaven's Word. Oh, that's why I don't remember that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very... But my point less being about them ending in their purpose ending in ARR and more that their role being so small. It was a thing that... Like, I made it not... If they didn't tell you in Stormblood that Yu Hase was a part of what he was a part of, I may not have any memory of him as a character. Like, I remember, obviously, because they tell you, but, like, remembering it here. And that's one of the reasons I'm really enjoying replaying A Realm Reborn, is, like, I'm noticing a lot more. Or not even just noticing a lot more, but, like, a lot of the smaller details are standing out to me more. Or like, well, Leo, this is a surprise. Resh wished for me to thank you for helping us to rescue her from the Castrum Sentry. How fortunate that we could meet him again so soon. How fortunate that we meet again so soon. Did you hear, my friend? I've received my first official assignment as a full-fledged member of the Crystal Braves. Oh, really, right in a lane.
Ah, the Warrior of Light, ever reliable friend of the Crystal Braves. You have my deepest thanks for your assistance in Kurthis. Now what brings you to us this day?
Hey, $5 from Warrior. Thank you so much. Here's some stack money. I get to get snacks. And I'll be able to get food after I do this. I can actually go get food. I'm gonna have a long night because I got a lot of work to do. Oh, this is gonna be very nice. Thank you very much, Warrior. A gift of weapons from a certain black market. Oh.
A gift of weapons from a certain black marketeer. Understood. Once we categorize the contents, I'll have them delivered to the halls of flame.
This cannot be everything, can it? Real stated with confidence that there would be a far greater quantity of weapons.
A blatant falsehood. Clearly Rio is unfamiliar with the ways of Ul'dan merchants, who ever strive to present themselves as greater than they are. We should be thankful for this information was not completely erroneous, and that we managed to achieve anything of worth at all.
It's still something worth celebrating, isn't it, Lieutenant? Besides, we've got more important things to worry about, like fighting those Garleans up north. There'll be no fighting if I have anything to say about it. Our orders are to stand watch, not seek glory in battle. If you have no further need of us, then I'll take my unit to the cerulean processing plant.
Time for the Fourth to earn their keep, eh? Fight well, Alien, for the freedom of all.
That deep voice gets me every time. I want a lawful voiced by the guy who voiced Ulysses in Fallout New Vegas.
Excellent work as always, my friend. Rest assured that the Immortal Flames will hear of your contribution. Until we meet again.
If we're making L's, then it'll probably be Alien. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Elio, a word if you please. If it please you. Not here. Look for me at the Sapphire Avenue Exchange. No need for whistling this time. Don't you worry. Gabi Song of Gabi. Thanks for indulging me to request. Few places better than a market for privacy, I find. All the hustle and the bustle of commerce means that most conversations go unnoticed. I'll get to the point. At the Burnham Wall, when the captain interrupted the exchange, what happened? Tell me everything. Leave no detail out. That's not quite how the first told it. These Duskwights they were chasing. Latest word is that we lost the trail, but you never saw them yourself. Not before the fighting started, and not after. Something ain't right. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it in bones. I'm not daft enough to be misled by some merchant drunken boasts. Our information was reliable, goddammit. I know he purchased those weapons. As I've never deciphered a moneylender's books, or had a fellow transactions back to its source. did plenty of that back when the Braves were getting started, believe me. The commander wanted assurances that we were taking gil from the wrong sort of benefactors. Of course, these days the money flows like water, and the first and third get the shiniest new toys. Forgive me, friend. I have a lot on my mind these days. I appreciate you lending your ear. Right then, best to get back to it. I'm sure it's fine, Real. You worry too much. Nothing bad could possibly happen. Nah. I may have already saved customization of every race wanting to become worlds. Oh, Elio, can you hear me? It's Tataru. Your presence is urgently requested at the Rising Stones. Please come and see me as soon as you are able. I am happy with my hero in Ellison. Thank you very much. Foreshadowing. Just did the remembrance quest for the poor fellow coming up. Yeah. Minnesota and Tataru will never not make my heart happy. Good, good, good. It's funny because it's like, I have to play it up hardcore because, like, literally my natural accent is, like, Midwestern, Minnesotan, Wisconsinite accent. So, like, a lot of it just sounds normal to me if I don't, like, play it up hardcore. And even then, it's almost hard to do because I'm, like, it feels too normal, so it feels wrong. Thank you for coming so quickly, Elio. We've guests from Ishgard who wish to speak with you. A most, determined lady by all indications. Actually, so the Rising Core is anything new? The Lady Knight from Ishgard cuts quite a gallant figure, doesn't she? We were able to locate those elusive manuscripts in the archives of the Thaumaturge Guild. I had not spoken much with the new guildmasters, but thankfully they were quite willing to accommodate our search. Though it may have seemed tedious when compared with the smiling of terrible foes, poring over crumbling scrolls is one of Scion's most important duties. Without the illumination of knowledge, we but vainly flail at the specters in the dark. In hindsight, mayhaps sending a lady in my stead was not the wisest of decisions. Pray ignore my ramblings. I traveled to Uldar to meet with Thancred's friends, the one who promised us that rare ore, and she began cursing me with words I've only ever heard from the mouths of pirates. I still have no idea what she was so angry about.
I must confess the relationship between those crystals and formations and the destruction of the Ascians quite escapes me.
Professor Labyrinth has published a thorough study on corrupted crystals and their properties. I highly recommend you procure yourself a copy of his work. Hey, Lambertiant, isn't that the guy that we helped during the earlier AR quests? With the corrupted crystals and stuff. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, that they reference him. Our guest is with the antecedent and the solar at present. Let's not keep them waiting any longer, shall we? I'm not too interested in having a here since I'm basically already one in real life, but basically, since you're basically already one in real life. But I made one for the heck of it. I mean, my main is a here. I'm a basic ass bitch, so. Coco Busi and his brothers. Dude, I will never not hear Coco Busi and laugh. Like, just, the name is fucking Coco Busi. Mine was originally here, but I changed to Catboy rather quickly. One of my alts is a male Mikote. I wanted a male character. They have my favorite sitting pose in game. They do have some good sitting poses, I'll give them that. Unexpected tidings from the north, borne by the Lord Commander II. What manner of wind bloweth this way? At this point, it would be more unnerving if he spoke plainly. Oh, Mambrina. This is no time for idle chatter. Good of you to join us. We have much to discuss. Coco Busi is Coco for Coco Pops.
We have
the
a
barbecue,
guest
good to
from
see you, glad to have you.
Ishgard who wishes to speak with you. I believe the two of you have met.
Bunboy indeed, Deathberry.
We have. I had hoped to speak with Commander Leveilleur as well, but I cannot afford to wait any longer. The Lord Commander sent me hither to request your aid in a matter of grave import.
You see now why I had Tataru summon you.
Now that we're all assembled, perhaps you would be good enough to elaborate on the nature of the matter which brought you to us.
The Observatorium's astrologians have sounded the alarm. Last night, the Dragonstar burned with an intensity not seen in 15 summers. Not since the Dravanians engaged the Empire in the Battle of Silvertear Skies.
The northern sky doth burn full bright upon the Wormlord's call. The red behemoth beckoneth, and flame consumeth all.
The old Curthan rhyme, aye. The brightening of the Dragonstar is said to accompany the roar of a great worm. The astrologians believe that it was Midgard Soma himself who cried out on this occasion.
After an absence of centuries, the King of Kings did return to lead his kind against the might of Garlemald, only to fall in his duel with the Agrius, proud flagship of the Garlean fleet. Devoid of life, his corpse remaineth entwined about the Magitech monstrosity even unto this day.
Eorzean has the right of it. Whatever this alteration in the Dragonstar portends, the Great Worm has shown no sign of life. Tataru, have the Domans reported aught out of the ordinary?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if Midgard Soma had roared, wouldn't we have heard it here in Revenant's Toll?
Roar is but a figure of speech. Dravanians can communicate in ways beyond our ken. It is for this very reason that we are forced to look for signs in the heavens. We cannot say with any confidence that a great worm roared at all, much less that it was Midgard Soma. Only by directly examining the Keeper of the Lake can we be certain. However, it will take too long to gain the Holy See's approval to dispatch the Temple Knights. Therefore, Sir Emric would entrust this task to you. Do you accept? We knew you would not disappoint us.
Good to see you. Glad to have you.
Now, if you would excuse me, I must
Mark,
return
good to
and
see you. Glad to
assist
have
the
you.
Lord Commander. We have precious little time to prepare.
To prepare for what, pray tell?
When a great worm roars, his brethren cannot choose but answer. We prepare for battle.
Gotta love the male Vieira bum boy look. Let me get you from you guys first. The first all I made is a bun girl. I keep fantasiaing back and forth between that and Mikote. I'm afraid to know how much money I spent on the back and forth. Well, at least you're supporting the game, right? Like, that's the thing is, like, I don't mind the cash up nearly as much, partly because I don't mind supporting them and because usually it's not egregious. But yeah, no, there are worse things. Anyone else see that the Sheba mount for the first time ever, or not first time ever, but supplanted the Fantasia? Currently repping Zayla Al-Ra, but I'm consistently tempted to switch to Femro. Dude, oh, Femros. Like, if you've seen some of my prior streams, I love Femros so much. Not necessarily playing as Femros, but I love Femros. Femro life, man. But yeah. Also, I do love Al-Ra Zayla. They are lovely too, though. I mean, I love Al-Ra Rain too, but Femros. I kind of miss Urianji's old voice. It cracks really good when he's sad. Yeah, so the thing is, it's also, I really love Balthier's voice actor, who's same voice actor, and I really love it. I do think that, Urianji's old voice is one of the few voices that I, for a Realm-Reborn, that I actively thought was good. Like, not to say that everything is good or bad, but just, like, many are fine. But that was one of the ones that I thought was genuinely good. And I thought his new voice actor, when he first started, was on par, and then I think has continued to just be, like, show that he's phenomenal, so... I forgot Urianji was voiced by Gideon Emery. Yeah, I forget voice actors' names all the time. Gideon Emery is who is phenomenal in everything he's ever been in. Do Midgard Summer said something along the lines of "Oops" when Agrius exploded on him? I think it was more like, here. Let me. I'm gonna give me one quick second. I think it was more like... Something like that. I believe that is how it went down. Back to the game. Oop. Imperial says, forgive me if I state aught which you already know, but I would ensure that you understand the nature of your destination. As Eorzean stated, what we now call the Keeper of the Lake is the wreckage of the Agrius, former flagship of the Imperial fleet, and the corpse of the dread worm responsible for its destruction. 15 years ago, as the next step in his campaign to subjugate Eorzea, Gaius Van Baelsar attempted to seize control of Mordona. So massive was his force that all thought his victory a foregone conclusion. But an unlikely ally came to Eorzea's aid that day. Midgardsummer, legendary guardian of Silvertear Falls, birthed forth from beneath the waters of the lake and led a host of dragons against... Huh. The depiction of 1.0 is that he comes from the sky above. But this here, the text of the game says that he burst forth from beneath the waters of the lake, which is a very, very important discrepancy. Make a note of that. This led to a host of dragons against the Garlean airships overhead. In what would later become known as the Battle of Silvertear Skies, the Great Worm felled countless airships before engaging the Agrius. In the ensuing struggle, the flagship ceruleum engines failed, and it tumbled into the lake below. Yet the victory came at a great cost, for the explosion which followed claimed the life of the Great Worm as well. That same explosion transformed Silvertear Falls into the desolate wasteland it is today, draining the lake of its water and crystallizing aether for malms around. Yet a remnant of the lake remains, and at its center, a constant reminder of that fateful day long ago. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that Silvertear Lake had once been much larger. That's interesting. In accordance with Sir Amaric's wishes, our Doman allies have been standing watch over the Keeper of the Lake. It would be wise to speak with them before investigating the wreckage yourself. Does that mean that here, let me pull up an EE1. Well, here, let's finish the cutscene first. Be careful, my friend. We know not what dangers await you within. Now then, let us not neglect our own tasks. There is much to be done and precious little time to do it. There's a very important quandary here. Because what I'm curious is that, does that mean that St. Coinach was not revealed by... Because St. Coinach's find... No, because St. Coinach was revealed... Wasn't St. Coinach revealed by the 7th, not by the receding waters of the lake? But that's interesting. So how far out could the waters even be? St. Near 6 centuries ago. Oh, no. Right. I totally forgot this. St. Coinach's find was, yeah. Near 6 centuries ago, a determined young man by the name Uldog stumbled upon what would prove to be the greatest discovery of 6 astral era. I forgot. This is the event that precipitates Alag no longer being considered a fairy tale. Relics of ancient. Greatest discovery of the Sixth Astral Era. The relics of the great Allegan Empire of Order Nalthal and Coinach was immensely clever and consistently received the highest marks amongst his peers. The Order had high hopes for the young prodigy and envisioned him a future leader in the church. The hopes crumbled to dust when Coinach became infatuated with stories of long-lost empire briefly mentioned in Holy Scriptures. Allag. Despite being less than a year from graduation, he abruptly abandoned his studies and began fervent pursuit of a knowledge of a subject most in Order regarded as best as allegory. Turning a deaf ear to the pleas of his professors, Coinach was expelled from the seminary and eventually ostracized by his closest companions. This, however, will only fuel the young man's passion to prove his detractors wrong. To fund his obsession, Coinach became a merchant. Every coin earned part into the acquisition of ancient tomes and overseeing the exploratory digs in remote locations across the realm. It was not until the year before he passed away, over 5 decades after his search began, that Coinach finally found what he was looking for, sparsely populated corner of Mordona. Once a laughingstock in academic circles, Coinach was now a hero. Universities begged him to join their staff, while sponsors from across Eorzean showed him with coin to finance future excavations. Further vindication was achieved after his death, when he was canonized not by the order which forsook him, but by the followers of Ulthik, the scholar. Coinach's name lives on to this day in St. Coinach's Fine, an organization dedicated to the continuation of the eponymous archaeologist's work. Oh, crap. It's so low quality, but the destruction wrought by the... Oh, no. By the Battle of Silver Tear Sky and the subsequent calamity altered the land in such dramatic fashion that locations once submerged under hundreds of yalms of water were now exposed, revealing Allegan ruins which had not seen the light of day. So it was a different set of Allegan ruins that Coinach discovered. I had always misread this. Okay. Exposed, revealing Allegan ruins which would not be seen the light of day for countless summers. The scholars of St. Coinach's Fine have since begun excavation in these areas, hoped for making their next excavation. So St. Coinach's Fine was being excavated post... It was the Battle of Silver Tear Skies and the receding of the water that caused that. Cool. Let me catch up on you guys. I'm repping Femro right now. Nice, Mark. Nice. I think he said, oof, ouch, that smarts, nods with increasing fervor. I've only once every race except Ro, Elzen, and Hira that have been created, ready to begin with. I feel the urge for another alt, going to have to Hrothgar made for once females are available. Hrothgals are going to be great. Oh, what about everyone's favorite Scion? What do you mean? Which one is everyone's favorite Scion? My answer may be considered a spoiler. That may have been from a while ago. I love your Minphilia voice. Lol, sounds like Vernum from Psychonauts. Very fitting. Yeah, we call it monophilia. Admittedly, my only problem with Al-Ra's dimorphism the race has, and every time I see a male, I have whiplash compared to my max height yet petite character. Yeah, I appreciate that that dimorphism exists while also being totally feeling you, Molly. It took me some time to get used to the female Viera being taller than males. It can happen in the animal kingdom, just caught me off guard at first. Yeah. I like the races by dimorphism, that's usually pretty cool, but, and this is totally my opinion, not trying to offend, but female Aurora are totally pandering. To what, though? Because, under that argument, pandering to which? Because, you have, it's more, I think, more having about a breadth of different types and characterizations, right? I'm not, I don't think, it's not offending at all. I'd love to know why you feel that way. The whole waifu thing. Tracy, good to see you, glad to have you. But their petiteness isn't that much smaller than Mikote, and also within the culture, the Zayla and Rain aren't necessarily that way. I mean, and also, so I don't know that their waifu-ness is any stronger than any other than the Mikote waifu-ness. In fact, if anything, Mikote waifu-ness is more waifu-ness in some ways because of the harem stuff. The emotes are super girly. Yeah, they're definitely very feminine. I definitely think that a lot of the Al-Ra is definitely rooted in a lot. There's a lot of also Japanese norms in it, not patriarchal norms, but just Japanese norms in terms of some of the movement and animation capture that's tied a little bit more to some of that, which is partly because the Al-Ra and Rain, the Zayla and the Rain come from Othard, which is, broadly Asia. Yeah, which makes some of Warrior Light reactions just funny. That's true. Yeah, I just find them way over-sexualized. Way over-sexualized. What part of them sexualized, though? Because, within the confines of the story in the game, they're not really sexualized much at all. Like, if anything, the people that are sexualized are more like Hyur and Mikote. Like, definitely the Mikote, I think you can make an active argument for. But like, also, I think that's pretty normal. Like, I think that's a byproduct also of creating a compelling breadth of human experience. So no, so again, Jubilant, I'm not to shout you down. I'm mostly curious. Because they were banned out because Catgirl, but just saying, look, as someone who doesn't like pandering, who really hates pandering a lot. I don't think just cause Catgirl's pandering. Like, it is also like an archetype that has existed beyond just, you know, yeah. But Aras were next level. But Aras were next level. But why? Like, what about them is sexualized and or even more egregious than Mikote? Viera and Ro ladies are mommies. Every other PC race is some variation of wife. Remember, there's also a lot that is players bringing something to them more than is readily the case within the confines of the world. Sure, at the very least, Mikote and Aura lean into Moe. Yeah, I think you... I don't know, I would say Moe, but like, I think you can make some arguments that Aura, because of the stature, you know, may lean into some diminutive archetypes of certain, like, Japanese trends or roles, but I don't even think... I don't think, like, they're not really portrayed to that. Like, their stature, if anything, is more, like, hooked into... yeah. Female Aura are very pretty. They are. But I mean, like, most of the races are very pretty. But yes, the female Aura are very... Ladies and gentlemen, we found our resident Scaly. Are we talking about me? I don't mean sexy Aura glamours, though. I don't see as many sexy Aura glamours. Yeah, that too. Maybe more cutesy then? Yeah, definitely. I definitely think there's a lot of, like, cutesy... There's some element of female Aura due to their diminutive stature that makes them a little more cutesy. I think that's not unfair. No, I see your point. I think I'm misrepresenting it as it's not exactly Square Enix's intention how they in-game, it's just how the community treats them. Oh, yeah. See, to me, that's irrelevant because you can make anything into a sexualized thing. I'm totally even with you for being frustrated potentially with people over-sexualizing, especially sexualizing characters who are not depicted as necessarily being sexual or who don't necessarily would act in that way. I totally get that frustration, and I get a frustration with the community. I do think it's very important to delineate a difference between I am frustrated because the community sexualizes female Aura versus female Aura are sexualized. And which, I mean, like, you guys know this by now. Every time I'm very careful about, like, delineating that shit, so. Looks through my glams. Yep, more cute than sexy. Well, I don't look for sexy glams as I play male characters. Yeah, I mean, I don't play female characters typically. I typically play male characters, and and kind of regardless, I always am going for cool aesthetic more than anything else. You're in luck, sir. I was about to send word of Revenant's Toll about the Garleans. Of late I've seen small airships, likely from Castrum Sentry, come and go from the Keeper of the Lake, though I cannot say for certain at this distance. I believe they may be salvaging something from within the wreckage. The Castrum supply lines have been cut for some time, and I'd wager they're desperately in need of spare parts and other equipment. Yeah, community Lala versus game Lala, yeah. So it's true then. These Guardians honestly fear... Well, and also, like, different parts of the community are other... Like, one, you have, like, the Japanese community is different than the European community, is different than the like, American community, which is also different than parts of and those subgroups also intermingle and have different things that break down, too. So it's like, we say community, but, like, I mean, us here saying that we're frustrated with what part of the community does as being part of the community, you know, dictates that it's no monolith. So it's true then. These Guardians honestly fear the worm might rise again. Well, from here, this seems rather unlikely. Oh, actually, that's a really good shot. Too late. I'll just have to remember that that's there if I want it. From here, it seems rather unlikely, but if it assures that they want you no choice but to inspect the corpse in its entirety. Easier said than done, given the creatures which inhabit the wreckage and the aforementioned Garleans who won't take kindly to your presence. They're sure to fire upon an airship, so I'd advise a more stealthy approach. Take this boat and a few of your comrades to the base of the Agrius, then climb to the top. That's the only viable approach, I'd say. Keeper of the Lake. Okay, I'm coming back to the tea tree to grab some people for Keeper of the Lake. Oh, actually, no, I forgot. For dungeons, we do duty support, don't we? But I'll grab you guys for Chrysalis, and that's coming up soon. Oh, right, I can just use the entrance. Because we're trying to do duty support for. Oh, does it not have it yet? Well, that's fine. Then I'm gonna come grab some of you guys. Let's do that. Unless, let me try. Yep, ends at Decamana. Yep, which I'm sure a bunch of you guys are reminding me about in the chat right now. I mean, yeah, Lalas are evil. The 14 manga literally has a scene where they refer to Y'shtola as Mama. Yeah, but again, there's a reason that 14 manga exists as an out-of-universe thing that's like a playful thing. Like, yeah, there is a certain amount that the like writers write that way. Or the fact that like in universe, they write Emilians as someone who absolutely would troll her husband with having us dress her up that way, like in a funny way. If anyone wants to be our fourth for for Keeper of the Lake, I'll wait here for a second to catch up on you guys. Peaches, good to see you, glad to have you. But you also can't say Square Enix doesn't know what they're doing. Petite waifu demon girls, they knew. But like, I guess like the thing is, here's the thing. They absolutely. Here's another really important thing is that also Western culture versus like Japanese culture as a whole. There's a lot. Aestheticism can be tied to sexuality without cleaving the two in twain in a way that isn't always the case when like you're in like pop culture, at least American pop culture. So like, I think there's an aspect of it is like, oh no, this is a pretty thing that yes, some people are attracted to. Be a great idea to do it more so than it is like, let's get the sexy demon girls, yeah, you know. So like, I just think that's not gonna lie, being ace, the constant sexualization of everything in the community is a bit annoying, but that's just me. No, it's annoying to me. Well, okay, let me rephrase. It's annoying to me when it's not representative of characters, or for instance, if there's an ace character, like let's say they create an explicitly ace character, not just implicitly, explicitly ace character in 14. If someone makes them, that character does a thing, the like art that makes them sexual, you know, sexualizes them, that's frustrating because it ignores like the sanctity of the character and also their own disposition, which I treat as sacrosanct. But on top of that, it's hard though too, because you want there are a lot of people that for them it is a release and an ability to finally self-express to be able to be sexual. And for others, the onslaught of it is egregious. And so it's definitely, there's definitely also problems with people sharing things maybe not in the best of taste. Yeah, I agree. Keeper doesn't have duty support yet. Yeah. I feel like I've seen more old men being sexualized in the community than any other group looking at Eula Habrea. I don't know, I've seen much of that. But I've definitely seen a lot of that. I think what I would phrase it more as is I think 14 as a whole, as a community, is more likely to sexualize everyone rather than just the women, which is what you often see in some communities. No duty support, yeah. 6.2, yep. They could all have mommy demons and you could say the same thing. They could have mommy demons, you could say the same thing. Yeah, well, I mean, like, you could be, oh. Thank you. We've got our fourth. I mean, like, that's the thing, too, is, like... Oh, also, we're gonna get tombstones for this, aren't we? Genetic of the invite. Nope, already been invited. There we go. Let's go. Not all 3.0 dungeons, 6.2, but sure, it's the first half. Yeah. Elven, good to see you, glad to have you. No discrimination in the thirstiness. Yeah, which, can I join open over my server? Sorry, Kichi. Yeah, but Kichi, you can definitely show, I'll get to Chrysalis tonight, and you'll be able to join for that, too. So, Sarah, perhaps all the 3.0s, kids, I thought they're stopping at the vaults, and they're coming from not getting support. I think you're right, Sarah. Yeah. Like, the thing is that, like, they have Yotsuyu, who does have the step on me energy. Like, literally, they play into that somewhat, but there's, like, I think the thing is that there's not the same perspective on it as not only taboo, but it's not even egregious. How do I want to frame it? There's a certain cultural norm differentiation and like a feeling of like choosing to do something that is, it doesn't carry the same problem. My favorite. I mean, Rule 34 applies to everything here. I'm not saying that's not equal opportunity. No. I get what you're saying. Yeah, just to avoid Aura jelly for the. I just avoid raw generally for the ick factor. Yeah, no, so the rules of the forward thing is a completely different thing, but what, ick factor? Now I'm confused. Are you saying that the sexualization of them by the community at all has made you perceive the characters, even within the game devoid of that, as having an ick factor? Because if so, that's really sad. And I'm not saying like that's your fault or anything, I'm just saying like that's really sad. I guess for me, I very hardcore delineate, like, I don't, when like, if Twitter's drawing a bunch of sexy Eorzean, I don't let that affect how I view Eorzean, I let that affect my frustration with people doing, well, I mean, sexy Eorzean is fine, to an extent, like, taste, but my point more broadly being, I guess I don't really need to offer, Yutsuyu literally steps on something. Yeah, no, I mean, but that's the thing is that that's not unintentional. The problem is I think that it's not, just because they use an archetype in some way that's tied to like a thing or an aestheticism or an idea, doesn't mean that they're going like, hey, let's get the step on thing me. You know, like, it's not the same fetishism in quite the same way. And that's partly a culture thing, it's partly a development thing. Yes. Yeah, okay, well if that's the case, then that's really sad, Jubilant. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that those are unable to be delineated for you. Because just know that, like, I don't think you're feeling on being frustrated or icked out by people doing that on like Twitter. I don't, not only do I hold umbrage with that, like I will support you in that. But I will say that I do think that it's worth saying that I would then say though that it's worth making sure to say that rather than saying Al Ra having that. But you know, maybe that's me being overly careful with word language. Yeah, I did not have a fun time running the dungeon for the first time. The last boss wiped the floor with us, and our healer and second DPS rage quit. After the second time we wiped, it took like 5 times. Oh, that sucks, Stepberry. I'm sorry. We had a bit of a rough time. Power was having some lag issues when we were playing on Sunday. We were doing some stuff on Sloppy Sunday, and this came up. And that was rough because they were a black mage, so they were like our heavy DPS, and they were struggling to do all the stuff that they were trying to do. So it took us about 1.5 times. Yeah, but people in Limsa don't. Yeah, but like. So, and yeah, it didn't have to be just Twitter. So, sorry, let me catch up. I mean, if you want a weird vignette into what Japan considers sexy or fetish, play Yakuza games. Well, but again, that's not even representative of Japan, right? Like, that's, like, the normalization there is, to an extent, like, does help with some norms. But, like, if you read, so, like, okay, so there's, like, 2 things going on here, which one is, like, the normalization of sexuality as aestheticism in Japan. It was historically the case and only changed in, like, I mean, really in the Meiji period, but then also when you have, like, the, like, sort of, like, Western laws that come into case post-Reconstruction in World War II. And so you have this weird mishmash thing that happens. I understand the overall thing, their skills look so itchy and I don't like it. What? Okay. Yeah, I mean, their scales look itchy. Okay. I mean, it's not just Twitter, you hang out on Limsa. Yeah, but that's true of any group that there is degenerates and people of, like, and especially people who are prone to be, inconsiderate, people who are prone to be outliers, to be, not even repressed, but just excessively of one direction are also prone to be maybe not necessarily the most aware of other people. But also for other people, sometimes it's also just about being able to self-express in the field. You can just ignore it. But like, my point is, it doesn't matter if it's Limsa, it doesn't matter if it's Facebook, it doesn't matter if it's Twitter, it doesn't matter where it is. My point is more specifically just, it is sad that disconnection, that there can't be a disconnection for you between those. And that affects your view of characters within the world of the game, playing them. And I don't mean like, again, that's not a blame thing. It's purely, I feel for you. I found it interesting how many of the male players I know simped over Yotsuyu. Yeah, Yotsuyu. It's Yo-Tsu-Yu. So Y-O-T-S-U-Y-U, Yotsuyu. Luckily, Japanese phonetic, so it's very easy to spell. Yeah, no, I mean, I also find it weird when people simp over characters who are actively sadistic or malicious. Like, I love Xenos as a character. I find him a fascinating, like, classically tragic figure. The idea of simping for him is wild to me. Somebody kill the poor alarm that's just shouting, "Kill me." Oh, I missed one. I honestly just thought Araz seemed kind of elegant, to be honest. I mean, like, that. Honestly, that's what I feel too, Silver Gogaku. I initially chose one before moving over to Cure-All because of my name. Yeah, I'm much more elegance more than anything else is my response, is my reaction. Yeah, lag and Black Mage do not mix. No, they definitely do not. I mean, like, they were struggling with lag enough that, like, it really wouldn't have mattered the job too. But somebody heal that poor alarm. The alarm longs for death. My Outlaw is just a cute bard girl who likes the forest. People sexualizing her is fully on them, not my problem, and I hate the assertion it means anything to play at a particular race. Yeah, I agree. I concur. Agreed, Aubrey. Similar to my feelings while playing Lalafell, internet's horde takes a bit. Like, and here is what's really, really hard to remember. Because of literally being a human, we naturally have negativity bias, right? We have extreme negativity bias. All it takes is 2% of allowed ass subsection of a community being a certain way about Lalafell, being a certain way about anything, for that to stick in your head. Like, the thing is that the vast majority of players, I would sincerely bet you, are not of the disposition that is frustrates or disgusts or is degenerate, or, you know, like, I don't mean degeneracy just as an inherently negative bad thing. I mean degeneracy in a negative way, in a unempathetic, unlistening, uncaring, desirous representation. Just that form of degeneracy. All it takes is a small portion of a loud audience to be a certain way. Also, like Twitter, for instance, Twitter does not represent the Final Fantasy XIV community. Those people who are on Twitter are a very specific subsection and very specific subgroup of people who play 14, and then the people on that who are loudest are also, like, you know, gonna be. And that doesn't change the fact that, it does not change the very real fact for you guys and for many of us that, like, we have to still deal with a lot of bullshit and a lot of generalizations. It doesn't stop that. It's just worth remembering that when it feels sometimes like everyone, it is, you know? The Yakuza games are mostly set in Tokyo and Red Light District, Kabukicho. Well, I mean, Kabukicho is, like, also not, like, I mean, it's a fantastical version of Kabukicho. Like, I've spent time in that region in Tokyo. But it's also, like, you know, like, also the thing is that you, like, their representation of Kabukicho, like, in the 80s in Yakuza 0 is also, like, still played in some ways much the same as, not obviously in the time period, but in the same sort of ideas around certain sexualization zones. I mean, it's also, and the thing is, all of this is also shifted as a function of time. Like, the first Yakuza game is almost 20 years removed from the most recent one, you know? Obviously it's extreme, but some of the jokes play on the subculture. Yeah, well, but also, like, Tokyo's Red Light District subculture is, like, not the norm in any way or representative of, like, general Japanese, like, norms. Like, it is, like, pink parlors and all that stuff is, like, it would be like, it's the same way as, like, when people say New York represents America, right? And as an American, you're like, say what now? It's worth remembering that it's not a wholly indicative of general broader norms. I will say though, like, you spend time in Akihabara, or you spend time in, like, Sunshine City and stuff, like you spend time in Akihabara and you're, like, 5 steps away from, like, all sorts of, like, there are, you can easily find, like, doujin stores and, like, sex shops and stuff, like, but it's not, but, like, the people visiting those aren't, like, just your everyday people too. Like there is the same level of like thought around that as some people. Like if you were at like when you go to a convention and there's a bunch of like middle-aged dudes standing around a hentai, like a doujin section, staring at staring at that.
Now upon my
same vibe.
And waketh me from slumber sweet.
Oh, Midi, I love you.
Thou hast forgotten the face of thy Lord. Remember, mortal, and fear me.
I feel like Midgard Summer is another good example. I love his characterization in the English more than I do the Japanese. Also, I love his theme, the like music of flying theme too.
Come then, thou shalt be weighed in the balance.
In the balance.
Receive of my breath, and ye shall live once more.
Odd question, was Midi a warrior of light? No. Midi was not a warrior of light. And it's not an odd question. Always ask questions. If you have any question, whether you think it's dumb or not, please ask it. It's better that we can clarify it. And also, I mean, like, yes, there are questions that are dumb because of their intentions rather than because of what the question is. But in general, there are no dumb questions. I'm not going to attack Astrael because I want you guys to not have to worry about. I want to make someone narrate a Shakespeare play. Me too. I mean, you can check to see if his voice actor like did anything Shakespearean. It's very likely when they moved over to the groups of people that did that do Heavensward Onward. Most of them are trained in either acting, classical acting, or teleplays or what have you. So it's very likely. Hey, we got food on the corner stores, only in New York. Oh, you saying that makes me miss Konbini. Oh, I want to go back to Tokyo, Nico. He's my fave dragon. Is he my fave dragon? My fave dragon is either Midi or it might be Vritra. I really, really love Vritra. I mean, like, the dragon literally has a plot point built around how everything is changing, how the old ways don't always stay the same. Yeah. Thank you for your Crystal Tower video, by the way. Helped clarify a lot of things for me. Awesome, Peaches. I'm so glad. Will you be happy to know that, because I've needed a bit of a more low-key week, tomorrow's video is, like we did for Binding Coils of Bahamut summary, will be a summary of Crystal Tower in, I think, under 10 minutes. I forget what the final count number was. But so it will be a even more concise, slightly comedic version of what you saw there, if you have any interest in watching that. But yeah, again, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and I hope you continue to enjoy future stuff we put out. Sorry for the AoEs. I gotta get going driving home. If you're still streaming, I'll hop back on stream. If not, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. It's always great to have you, Deathberry. Thanks so much for joining in. Hope you have a good day either way. It's between the two, but Midi just wins by a scale. I get it, though. Like, Midi also... I wonder if by the end of 6.x, if Vritra won't be even more beloved, though. I also feel for Tiamat, and I want to see Bahamut in his prime. Not the primal Bahamut, but, like, the true entity Bahamut, because he was supposed to be, like, not powerful, but lovely. Thank you for the limit break. there's a lot of questions that people tend to have about what's going to happen in the next couple of scenes with Midgard Summer, so if anyone has any Midgard Summer based questions, I can help. Because I've answered them a lot. Thanks everyone who joined in for helping defeat him.
By her gifts hast thou earned a moment's reprieve. Speak, mortal, and I shall listen.
Yo, what's going on?
Guided by a star. My people have heard the song. Ishgard shall burn. Sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. We do not forget. We do not forgive.
Doesn't have to be that way.
7 children did I sire. One now singeth of retribution. I rise to join in the chorus. Thou art powerless to silence us, mortal. Yet thou shalt not live to labor in vain. Thy reprieve is at an end.
That's the blessing of light.
Trickery is thy shield. This frail, ignoble creature is not gifted, but chosen. Hearken to me, Hydaelyn. I remember, and I consent.
He's referring to the pact he made with Hydaelyn when he arrived upon Hydaelyn.
Mortal, I shall not harm thee.
He's not lying. I know it seems like he's lying with what's about to happen, but he's not lying. Because what he does here is, because of his pact with Hydaelyn, he is able to annul the Warrior of Light's blessing of light. He does not remove the echo, but he removes the blessing. He basically disables the blessing of light in order to see if you're worthy. So you still have the echo. You are still free from tempering. But you do not have the blessing of light. That is why you see the mandala. That is why you see the crystals here fade. That is what this is. This is the representation of your blessing of light. But you can still fight primals because the echo prevents you from tempering. So. That's what the mandala basically is supposed to be.
Mayhap thou thinkest me an oath breaker.
Professor, to answer your question, the answer is yes to both. It is still her blessing.
Comest to harm, it shall be by another's hand.
This is Midgard Summer testing us, desperately kind of wanting us to be different, but not believing it.
I did but strip thee of thy mistress's feeble blessing.
The echo does not come from Hydaelyn. The blessing of light does.
Didst profit much by her grace, but no more. The covenant binds me to thee.
Well, it's kind of like a separate shield spell, Chris. So, mini.
I shall watch, listen, and wait. Fight and struggle, if it be thy will. Man hath ever coveted that which lieth beyond his grasp. I drink of her body, and thence doth mine own find new life. When it hath grown whole, the loyal and penitent shall rejoice. The dragon song heraldeth our beginning and an end.
I love that he speaks so cryptically, yet once you understand, you understand. I remember doing this the first time and going, what the fuck, on this scene? You and most other players. I love Davy Jones' ways of speaking he has. Yeah, it makes me more sense when you know the truth of Thoradin's portrayal. Absolutely. Oh, awesome! Cindrix and Daniel, gotta get. You are now got gifted memberships. There you go. Same, John. Yeah, I feel you about it. Yeah. Heavens where we rebuild the mandala is that our own powers that Hydaelyn giving back to us. It's effectively, right now, I think the best way to think about it is that the Blessing of Light is a ward still placed upon us that has been depowered, and throughout Heavensward, we are re-empowering it. So, that you know, we're basically recharging the batteries, for lack of a better way to put it. Oof, ouch, ooh, my blessing. It's still a bit funny to say, I won't hurt you, then proceed to shoot you something directly at you. Yeah. Best minion. Midgard Summer must went to law school with the way he uses them loopholes. I mean, dragons be thinking that way. This won't hurt. Proceeds to seemingly impale the warrior of light. I mean, it's like doctors, you know, like this. You know, you get a shot to get, you know. Midi. The only minion I've ever used. Midi talking shit, but he's the one who needs help trimming his nails. It's true. I was beginning to fear the worst. Were those explosions I saw? But you shouldn't waste time talking with me. Alfino left a message stating that you were to return to the Rising Stones at once. But okay, so that's interesting. I just want to sit here now that I'm like more aware of the like geography of this. So like, this all was below the water line. Pretty much all of this. Like, obviously, this stuff became crystalline because of the explosion of the Agrius. But all of this was below the water line. It would have probably been all of this then, I guess. Well, no, because the Agrius was, like, only partially way down. I guess most of the Agrius is actually sunk in. Yeah. And I guess at Midgard Summer in the thing was actually higher up. So, yeah. Crazy. Crazy. Well, but Revenant's Toll existed. So the waterline must have ended somewhere around here, because we know Revenant's Toll existed at the time. The reason it became known as Revenant's Toll is because only the dead were left to mourn the dead. Have you spoken with the Commander Levier yet? He's been pacing again. 12 saved me. Is it coming? What should we do? Oh no? He's not? Oh, good. The Lady Knight from Ishgard cuts quite a gallant figure, doesn't she? Oh, it's just the same thing. Praise the 12 that you are hale and whole. I came as soon as Memphilia informed me of Sir Amaric's request. You have completed your investigations of the Keeper of the Lake, I take it. Then I would hear your report. I've ordered chicken tikka masala and all of... Oh no, I was just thinking how hungry I am. Fuck Demins. Oh, that sounds so good. Oh god. We only have like pizza and some like fast food places around me. I don't have any. The nearest Indian place is like a couple miles. Damn you, Demins! Damn you! You converse with Midgard Summer. I swear were anyone else to make such a claim, I would regard it with considerable skepticism. Are we to understand that the Wormlord did not perish and has in sooth lain dormant these past 15 years? Less a resurrection and more a rejuvenation, for he who dwelleth in eternity, years passing as a moment's. Though his words were ambiguous at times, one statement left little room for interpretation. My people have heard the song, Ishgard shall burn. Clearly an attack is imminent. We must share this information with Sir Amaric immediately. However, we dare not divulge your conversation with Midgard Summer in its entirety. To even acknowledge that you heard the voice of a Dravanian is a grave but necessary risk, lest we forget men have been executed as heretics for declaring as much. For your own protection, and for the sake of our tenuous relations with Ishgard, the truth cannot leave this room. Just a sleepy dragon. As for how we shall present our relations to Sir Amaric's emissary, you may leave that to me. I pray, remain here for now. That makes me think of amazing tikka masala Chicago Pizza Hut. Now, somehow the pizza topping conversation has come up yet again. That said, Molly, I could get into that. Usually that'd be a bit much for me, but I could get into that. I'd try it. Also, well, okay, wait. Chicago style? I mean, that's probably better because you can go deep. But I guess I don't like Chicago. I don't like. Yeah. I'd rather just like have deep dish with that. Munching on American Nightmare licorice. What's American Nightmare? Oh, on an American Nightmare licorice. Well, if it's black licorice, if it's red licorice, I mean, Americans love Twizzlers. Which I'm sure someone in the comments is going to say, like, Twizzler's not licorice. It's licorice. It's good enough. Is there something yet troubling you, Elio? You seem different somehow. 'Tis almost as if you are missing something. Something important. Very, astute of you. 12 for Fend. Midgard Summer stripped you of the blessing of light. Made explicit. Are you all right? How do you feel? I see. It is a relief to hear that you are otherwise unharmed. It beggars belief that any being could possess the power to deprive you of her blessing. Midgard Summer made mention of a covenant, did he not? One of the ancient myths regarding Silvertear Falls states that when the water came into existence, so too did the Great Worm. Althik and Nymea, brother Time and sister Fate, decreed that Midgard Summer ever watch over the source, from which all water and magic was said to flow. For those of you playing Mists of the Realm, might be worth paying attention. I wonder what if this was the covenant of which he spoke. 'Twas not the gods with whom he treated, but Hydaelyn herself. Well, if he is watching over you as he claimed, mayhap you will have an opportunity to ask. Let us keep this matter to ourselves. I do not wish to burden our friends needlessly. Ugh. That is not the way I would want it to be presented. Yeah, chicken's basically on the bottom, the rest of the normal pizza, the tikka sauce combined. Yeah, that's like literally the worst ways possible that I could think of that being presented. But I just don't like actual Chicago style pizza, like the pie style. Not a fan of it. And I spent a lot of fucking time in Chicago. It's not from lack of trying, mind you.
Art thou a pawn or master of thy fate? What hast thou wrought by thine own hands, mortal?
Be great as a tavern style. What's tavern style? Oh yeah, tavern, yeah.
My friend, I can scarce believe it.
It's a little
you
thin for me,
confronted
but
the
yeah.
Worm Lord and lived to tell the tale.
It's funny, the tavern style just called pizza.
I give thanks to Hydaelyn for your preservation. It is our sole cause for gladness. Your encounter with the Keeper of the Lake served to confirm our fears. A great worm has roared, and it makes little difference if it was one of the two in Eorzean or any other. The Dravanians are coming.
I am told that Ishgard has magical defenses against Dravanian attack, though I am not privy to their exact nature. Will they be enough to repel a massive force?
Ishgard has weathered countless assaults over centuries. This will be no different. And now that you have confirmed the threat, none can ignore the Lord Commander's calls for the wards to be strengthened. I dare not presume to speak for him, but I expect the Lord Commander would sing your praises. I must away, but we shall meet again soon.
I don't think interesting. I don't think Alpha Gno was being arrogant there. I think he was being strategic with what he said before.
Countless assaults
Same lol, learned
weathered,
it was a legit thing a few years
and
ago.
this will be no different? Why am I not convinced?
Yeah. I don't travel through Omaha too often, but I do sometimes. I'll write that down, Jubilant. Thanks for the recommendation. I mean, here's the thing too, is like, as much as like I may not like Chicago Styles pizza, I keep trying to try different versions of it from different places, thinking that one day I'll have the right version. Because like the thing is, what I like is I like a deep, either give me like something that's like a deep dish, but like, you know, pretty traditional, or like just like a thick, like, you know, your triangle cuts, you know, pie. But that is like, you know, like more, again, traditional style. Like Brooklyn's okay too. My problem is just like, there's just too much like sauce and thickness and stuff going on in the, there's like not a good ratio of bread to stuff for me for the, for Chicago usually. God, I'm so hungry now. God damn it, guys.
The Ishgardians have warred with Dravanians for centuries, nay nearly 1,000 years. In all that time, not once have their enemies breached the defenses and entered the city proper. Yet regardless of how strong these magical wards may be, I nevertheless fear that Ishgardians are underestimating the gravity of the situation. Though it was not Midgard Summer who roared, a call to arms by one of the First Brood cannot be ignored. Until such time as they choose to request our aid, however, we can do naught but observe the situation at a distance, and pray that our fears are unfounded.
Thank you to Aurora and, Demin for your collective $15, which I can now possibly put towards pizza. I guess I still need to make sure I save for the camera. Regional pizza styles are weird like that. It's true. I just felt like he was in that mode throughout ARR. Yeah, I mean, like he is super in that mode throughout ARR, with some shining above. I do think in 2.x he's a lot less of that. 2.1 he's still super that. 2.2 onwards though, I think it's a little more balanced. I'm not a big fan of Chicago style either, but that pizza is something else. But that one was special, Jubilant. Okay, interesting. I'd love to know, Molly, if that was like with tikka masala, like, do you like Chicago usually, and this was just also really good, or if you don't like it? Because like if it was like one for someone who doesn't like it, then you know. Is it bad that I cut my pizza with scissors? Is it bad? No. Is it weird? Yeah, it's weird, but it's not bad. And that's it. Who cares if it's weird? I usually prefer a New York pepperoni. Yeah, give me a New York pepperoni, Brooklyn style anytime. Want to see a scantily carved archivist? Well, I'm not going to strip for stream, sadly, but, well, we don't have those yet, but sign up for our Patreon anyways at www.patreon.com/Eorzean where you can find all sorts of fun rewards, as well as get your name in the banner up top. Yes. Back to Moonbrita. Ere I forgot, I believe Moonbreed has requested a gathering of the Scions. I assume there has been some progress concerning our efforts to combat the Ascians. Pray, inform her that our business with the Ishgardian is concluded for the moment. I shall be along once I've completed my communications with the Crystal Graves. All done with your talk of dragons. Wonderful, because Ascians are next on the menu. Let's head to the Solar, shall we? But if I get pizza, where do I get it from is the question. I mean, a photo shoot of Elio and his Eorzean cosplay. We can do that. We have, one of my partners has a nice camera. We can definitely do that. Speaking of, the cloth part is getting made right now, and as I have time, I've been working on the jewelry by hand. Some of it is foam, just because, like, for instance, his neck gorget is, like, doing that as a 3D print or in other ways would be really, really annoying. But I can make it, it'll look good. But it's coming along. I may be skipping out on his astrolabe just because you're not going to be able to see it. I'm not going to be able, it's going to take forever to build, and I'm like going to be stuck sitting with it.
Now that everything's calmed down a bit, relatively speaking, I mean, I thought it might be a good time to share our progress on the weapon. I believe we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Well, don't keep us all in suspense.
I'm so excited to be able to shave too for it.
Just in case anyone's forgotten, let's start by reviewing what we already know. So, an Ascian is an immortal because its soul doesn't return to the ethereal realm when its host is defeated. Instead, it flees to the place that lies between our world and the void. Therefore, the first step to permanently defeating an Ascian is preventing its soul from making this journey. And if you recall, when we last gathered here, I had verified that white Eorzean has adequate capacity to entrap the beings, albeit only briefly.
Okay, really important note here. She says between the ethereal sea and the void. She's not talking about the 13th reflection of Hydaelyn. The void is a catch-all term within the universe for the space, for like spaces that we don't fully comprehend or understand. So she means a different like void. Like, think about the void that you travel through on your way into Shadowbringers, right? That could still be called the void. It's a very catch-all term. So doesn't mean between here and the 13th reflection. Though I guess technically the space between here and the 13th reflection is the void, but it is a void, but.
Which left the small matter of their extermination.
Aye. To unmake an Ascian soul, one must needs smite it with a concentrated burst, or blade, of purest ether. However, we wanted for both the data and the means to forge such a weapon.
Short of experimenting on an actual Ascian, you see, there's no way to gauge how much ether its soul is made of. As such, we don't know what etheric density our blade needs to have in order for it to work.
So we'll just have to make the densest blade we can and hope for the best. Though that would require a lot of ether. Hang on a minute.
There's a lot of different catch-all names that you should learn. Yes.
White Eorzean can hold an absolute heap of ether, can't it?
Please tell me you're joking. God's sakes, Ida. I feel as though I'm reliving the same scene over and over with you. How many times do you need to be told that white Eorzean cannot store ether for long periods? Being intangible matter, ether is given to dispersion. Only in its crystallized form is it a stable source of energy. I will test you later on this, so see to it you do not forget.
Right, yes. It's all coming back to me.
So our hopes rest on good old crystals again, do they? While they are certainly reliable, they leave something to be desired in the area of portability.
Indeed. I am reminded of the quantity of corrupted crystals required to thwart Leviathan, and the extraordinary lengths to which the Lamentsons went to transport them. What if it should prove that a similar quantity was needed to destroy an Ascian's soul? Or still more?
I do not envy the poor sod who has to lug all of that around on the off chance that an Ascian appears.
That's the very problem we set out to solve, and I reckon we've found the answer. If it isn't practical to lug around the ether we need, we'll just have to draw upon another source. And the only viable source is the land.
If you mean to tap the great river of ether, know that it will entail considerable risk. Meddling with the currents may well induce a surge like to the one which despoiled Mordona.
Give me a bit more credit, will you? Why would we need to tap the river when there are veritable reservoirs jutting out all over the land? I speak of corrupted crystals. It might be that their aspect is out of balance, but a crystal's a crystal. It contains ether, and we can help ourselves to it.
While corrupted crystals are indeed abundant, there is no guarantee that they will be in close proximity at a crucial moment.
But what if we don't need them to be? What if we could tap their power from afar? A malm away, say? If we could do that, we'd have ready access to ether aplenty in almost every corner of Eorzean. I've yet to put my theories to the proof, but I've got a good feeling about this. If no one has any objections, I'd like to see where this avenue leads.
If you think it's worth your while, you have my blessing. But tell us, what are your theories? I, for one, am most eager to understand the process, however vaguely.
I thought you might say that. But no one wants to listen to boring old theories all day, do they? I know I don't. So with your permission, I'd like to try something a bit more hands-on. I've already built an etheric siphon especially for this purpose, and I've been meaning to try it out. Thing is, the profusion of corrupted crystals in Mordona makes it something of a high-risk testing ground. If anything goes awry with the siphon, it would be better if it didn't happen within spitting distance of quite so much ether. Ideally, I need an isolated specimen. Does anyone know where I can find one?
May I suggest northern Thanalan? There you will find corrupted crystals of middling size, standing a reasonable distance apart. Ideal for your needs, I should have thought. Oh, and if you do elect to visit the place, I should be much obliged if you would assist me in another matter while you are in the area.
Has something happened?
Movement has been observed at Castrum Meridianum. During Operation Archon, the Alliance dealt the stronghold a heavy blow. Its facilities were extensively damaged, and its garrison reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Not long after our forces withdrew, however, their ranks were replenished by reinforcements from Castrum's sentry. They now seek to rebuild, and to this end they have their sights set upon the ceruleum processing plant. Having lost the Empire's support, the 14th Legion lacks the resources to sustain itself. To them, this is a bid for survival, and they will doubtless fight like desperate men. Though I have dispatched the Crystal Braves, I fear their strength alone may not suffice to stay the Imperial assault. I would request the Scion's aid in the defensive effort.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to inveigle us into fighting your battle with the promise of shiny crystals. Well then, consider me inveigled. I won't lie, the crystals you speak of sound perfect, so the Garleans have to go. Besides, we can't afford to beat about the bush. There's no telling when the Ascians will next appear.
Thine eagerness to hurl thyself into the jaws of danger cometh as little surprise. Exercise due caution, I prithee.
Though you have become a crystal brave, you are yet a Scion, Alphino. We could hardly refuse you. Pray, join the Crystal Braves and lend them your support. Thangred and Papalimo shall accompany you. Ida and Yashtola, in the meantime I would have you assist Moonbreeder. Scout out the crystal clusters, that the testing may commence as soon as the Garlean threat has been eliminated.
If it please you, I shall continue mine own experiments on white Eorzean.
Thank you, Eorzean. Everyone, pray see to your preparations and depart as soon as you are able. Go well, and be safe.
%. People like their theories. Yeah, didn't they call the rift though? Yeah. So the thing is, like, again, the void is a catch-all term for a space in which we don't understand. So, like, for instance, scholars could have called the first, the 13th, and every other reflection the void in the past because they were a thing that were. It was a very broad catch-all term. Like, if Sin Eaters had shown up on the source from the first or something, they might have still called them Void Sent. It would seem that events have once more conspired to rob us of a rest and recuperation. Though I would wish it were otherwise, I must ask that you head straightway to the processing plant. The Fourth have already deployed the area and await the arrival of the Scions. Wilbur will brief you on the developing situation. Meanwhile, I must rendezvous with Captain Ilbert at our headquarters in Ul'dah. I shall take command of our forces there with lighter heart, knowing that you go to their support on the front lines. I mean, this is a lore channel. Yeah, it's shocker, Molly. It's shocker. Honestly, I'm wondering who the no's were. Your duties to the Northern Thanalan, do they not? We too must say our farewells to the Rising Stones for a time. Flamine travels to Ul'dah, and we shall serve as her escort. Huh, it's kind of weird that everybody's going away for a bit. At my daughter's behest, I go to certain old acquaintance in the Gilded City. We are best beset on all sides by civil unrest and Imperial machinations, threatened by primals and troubled by dragons. We need all the allies we can muster. Many of my friends hold positions of power, you see, and it is my hope that they can be convinced to aid the Scion's cause. If past events have taught us anything, then we know that Eorzea must present a united front, or we shall fall. How extraordinary that my little Ascilia is involved in such far-reaching affairs. I am proud that I might not stand at her side, not only as a mother, but also as a colleague. A colleague with influential connections, but I fear Ul'dah has become a place of danger, even for one so familiar with her streets. Bah, woe betide the blackguard that so much as glares in your direction, milady. I shall be well protected, it seems. Shall we be on our way, then? Oh, Hori. You're a Rogadin's Rogadin. All pizza is great. It's true. Reminder, if you'd like to join me for Chrysalis, that'll be coming up soon, and we will be meeting at the tea tree. Talmud's talents that we meet. Pretty sure it's Talmud's talents where we meet her. Commander Lavier sent word that you'd be coming. A veteran of your talents is most welcome. Not that I don't think we can handle the situation, mind you. I've learned a trick or two since the disaster with the Amalja. But returning to the task at hand. Did he have those scars before? The Flames reconnaissance scouts have reported Imperial soldiers assembling at Raban's push. Such a force is likely interested in only one thing, getting their hands on resources found here at the processing plant. The Garleans could begin marching on us at any time. Pray, speak with Lieutenant Elzenstein that we might coordinate our counter-strategy. In the meantime, I will inform the others that you have arrived. No doubt it'll come as well time. It will be welcome as it will be welcome tidings. Okay, we just got one quest after this, and then we're there. Night, Tracy. Have a good night.
Private Forceron, my soldiers yet tell tales of your deeds during Operation Archon. Would that we could sit a while and reminisce about old times, but I fear more pressing matters require our attention. The civilian draughtsmen, you see, have come across several highly suspicious crates within the boundaries of the processing plant. I had my sappers take a close look, and our worst fears were confirmed. These boxes contain powerful explosive devices of Imperial design, no less. But by my order, the flame stationed here are conducting a thorough sweep of the compound as we speak. Though it troubles me that we were unable to apprehend the Imperial spy behind this, I have faith that our men will be able to neutralize the threat for now. In the meantime, our scouts bring troubling news on the latest movements of the Imperial army. I would once again ask for your aid. We've been keeping a close eye on the Garlean garrison, and it would seem that the Imperials have finally begun to mobilize. According to the reconnaissance report that just came in, the squads seen leaving the castrum are too few in number to effectively take and hold our position. They will likely mount a swift assault and focus on the acquisition of resources. I have, of course, also shared this report with the Crystal Braves. They decided to take to the field to meet this assault head-on. I have appraised your fellow Scions of the situation, and I am heartened to know that they will be joining the effort. Pray, report to Lieutenant Alian, and lend your much welcome strength in the counter-offensive.
Isn't it a beauty? A lady merchant in Revenant Soul simply gave it to me. Said she was investing in the future or some such. Rowena. Now that is an impressive piece of steel. Have you ever seen Moon swing her axe? Swipe, slice, cleave! There's really no stopping her. Considering the weapon she wields, I don't believe the lady is in need of additional protection. Be it in squad of soldiers or some Magitech monstrosity, I shall allow no foe to harm the lovely Moonbreeder. Glad to have you with us, Elio. As I'm sure Lieutenant Edelstein has explained, the Garleans have deployed a small force from Castrum Meridianum.
The main column assembles to the north near Dalamud's talons, but we're also spied several squads attempting to conceal themselves on the approach to the west. They wish you to rush forces and commit to battle with the main column, leaving the detached force free to raid the plant and pillage supplies. Not much of a strategy, but these are desperate men.
Captain Ilbert.
Greetings, Scion. I understand that the commander bid you and your fellows come lend a hand to the Braves. With such mighty heroes at its disposal, the Fourth should have little trouble contending with aught that the Garleans might throw at them. But even you cannot be everywhere at once. The Third was getting restless, holed up in Ul'dah, so I marched them out of here to fill any holes in the plant's defenses and add their numbers to your counterattack.
The reinforcements are welcome. We have enough soldiers now to divide our own forces and safely engage the enemy far beyond the walls.
Aye, it would be best to avoid staging a battle anywhere near this much ceruleum. Let's take the fight to the Garleans.
A wise course indeed. I shudder to think of the consequences should any of those storage tanks be exposed to fire. If there are no objections, the Scion shall join the Fourth and give battle to the main column.
If you're with the Third and the Warrior of Light, your job will be to intercept those squads hiding out in the west and prevent them from reaching the processing plant. When you're ready to proceed, report to Lieutenant Yu Hase. His scouts should have a rough idea where the Imperials have concealed themselves by now.
Pleasure to be fighting at your side once more, Scion. Our operations invariably succeed when you are around, and victories are wont to pave the road to greater coin.
Now this detached force we've been seeing sent to eliminate has split into smaller squads, the better to conceal themselves with the terrain hereabouts, I imagine. We'll need to split ourselves up as well to cover more ground and make sure we root out all the would-be raiders. And seeing as your army unto yourself, I assigned you your own areas to scour and clean of enemy soldiers. This will be simple search and destroy. We'll rendezvous back here when the task is done. Happy hunting, Scion.
Good to see you, God. Good to see you, glad to have you. Don't tell me too many people we have Psychic Dragon, Femdom, everyone else. What? What? Vitamins. Allie Belly has Twitch that needs scratching. Thanks, Ray Ray. Join our Twitch over at twitch.tv/Eorzean archives. Into the breach once more. Thanks, Ray Ray. Yu Hase, Ludu Hase.
You seem grim, Scion. I'll take that to mean that between us, more than a few Garleans will be making it back to the castrum. These Imperials, though they certainly made us earn our pay, I would be a happy man if I never had to tussle with another of those Magitech horrors. It is time we bid this war-torn land farewell. I will contact the Fourth and let Lieutenant Alian know that the West is now clear. I'd appreciate if you would do the same with your report to Lieutenant Edelstein. Private Fortron, what news of the Garleans? The raiding parties are no more, then. Excellent. The Emagina engineers will be most relieved to hear that the plant is no longer in immediate danger. Thank you again for your assistance.
Okay. We're gonna unlock the chrysalis now.
You must be anxious for word of your fellows. Lieutenant Alian has reported a sound victory over the main column and informs me the Scions have already turned their attention to other duties. All but one, that is. The Roganin lady with the large axe. 'Twould appear she has chosen to remain at the site of the battle. I know not what task keeps her from returning to civilization, but northern Denland's no place to wander alone, even for a capable sort such as her. I would certainly feel better about things if you could check in on her before you continue on your way.
Hold on, I won't be a second. The beast seemed peckish, so I gave it a taste of my axe. I know, as Eorzean never tires of reminding me. An axe ill becometh the hand of a scholar. What can I say? I like axes. To hear my mother tell it, I came into this world holding one. And it's not as if it stopped me picking up a quill, is it? I often think of the man who introduced me to the joys of learning. He's one of the reasons I decided to come to Eorzean. Him and my excruciatingly stiff childhood friend. Considering how unalike we are, it's a wonder we ever got on. The world's a strange old place, isn't it? Aye, that ought to do it.
I'm feeling very sleepy. I'm sure the food I ordered 1 level of spice above my usual will drastically change that. I think you're gonna say it was because
so
of the
good.
food.
At these concentrations, it shouldn't matter too much if something goes awry. Just enough ether to make it interesting. Did you see that? The way the crystal glowed? The siphon works, I'm happy to say. With a few refinements, it should satisfy our appetite for ether, which just leaves the small matter of forging our blade. I'm not sure how to go about it just yet, but I swear to find a way. I'll put a blade in your hands if it's the last thing I do.
He senses me. A useful talent.
An Ascian, are they onto us?
By your brand, I see you are an archon of Hydaelyn, keeper of knowledge, seeker of truth, meddler.
I don't know what the hell's you're saying, but I don't much like your tone.
Your instincts serve you well. But come, be not unsettled on my account. That lovely brow was not made for frowns. But I waste my breath. Let me direct my words to one who understands them. We meet at last, warrior of light. I am Nabriales. And you have long been a thorn in my side. I suffered the overweening presence of La Habrea that men might host the power of gods, only for you to undo my hard work.
Yes. Because of course he's sexist too.
Oh, bugger.
Do settle down.
Bridge is the best.
You must concede that I acted in self-defense. But what's this? I do not sense the blessing of light. Oh dear. Could it be that frail Hydaelyn has forgotten her champion? This I did not foresee. Shorn of light as you are no longer a threat. And better yet, the seal is broken. Now is the time to claim the staff. With it in my grasp, I shall rise above them all and take my place at Lord Zodiac's right hand.
You know,
what did that bastard want with us?
It's weird. What prevented him from grabbing Tupsamati before the
Nabriales, he
word,
calls
came into the
himself.
picture?
With charm like that, I'll bet he has maidens falling at his feet, unconscious. But this staff, you say just talking about it had the bastard grinning like a brat on his name day. Must be quite a staff. Oh, gods. He means Tupsamati, Master Louis Soir's staff. Minfilia's in danger. We have to get back to the Rising Stones.
Aaron, good to see you. Glad to have you. Ascian's got Ascian. Anyone else? I just noticed something interesting about this. Look at this texture for the cryptic crystal. You know what I think this is? I think this is a photo of like some kind of crystal or gemstone, because it looks like it looks like they took a picture of like some kind of gem with facets and then uses a texture wrap again around this. Like it has a very distinctive look that I only know from. Oh fuck.
If I'm right and the Ascian is after Tupsamati, then we best make all haste back to the Rising Stones. Minfilia must be warned.
Actually, before we run back to that, I'm gonna go pick people up for Chrysalis. Well, no. Alright, we'll go ahead and hit it. You okay, Elio? Yeah, I'm okay. What's up? Can people not hear me or something? Let me tell you my evil plan, exactly where I'll be in 10 minutes. Yeah. I mean, evil destroys itself. What are you going to do? Sounded worn out. Yeah, no, I'm a bit tired, and I'm hungry and stuff, but I've just been worn out for the past couple of weeks because of COVID and stuff. But thanks for asking, Aaron. I really appreciate it.
You're here. Master Louis' staff is kept in the solar, isn't it? Quickly now.
Everything in this, everything that the past like couple quests have just been set up for making sure that the entire thing has been empty.
You two.
Thanks, Aaron.
So, you were
It's
able to
true.
divine my intent.
You
What
heard your
now, warrior of light? Ah, but that name is no longer fitting. You have become decidedly dull and quite incapable of barring my entry.
What do you mean?
You truly do not know? Then I suppose it is only right that I enlighten you.
Thanks, Jellybean.
The blessing of light kept you and your fellow meddlers safe. It was that which prevented my kind from entering your domain. My kind, I say, though it had no power over the likes of Elidibus and La Habrea. Being of this world, they could come and go as they please, while I could only look on. But I need look no longer. Now that the seal is gone, I mean to act. Unlike the others, I am not given to waiting. I shall take that staff and bring about the next rejoining.
Rejoining? Then it was your doing. The Isle of Val, the scholars, all of it.
You will not harm her!
Moonbreeder!
Why must you insist on forcing my hand? Did you learn nothing from our last meeting? Ah, but I forget. My words fall upon deaf ears.
The staff is but a broken relic, a memorial to the departed. What possible use could you have for it?
What use? You mean to say that all this time you kept the key, never knowing what it was you possessed? The staff Tupsamati, or rather the stone tablet it bears, is host to a great power. Together with the Horde,
this is set up
it
for
can be
3.x.
used to draw vast quantities of ether from its bearer's surroundings. How else do you think Louis Soir was able to invoke the power of the 12 without making them an offering of crystals? Summoning requires not only prayer, but a profusion of ether. Even a child knows that.
If I did not know before, you may be certain I do now. But above all, I know that we cannot allow this staff to fall into your hands. I will die before I let you take it.
Insufferable woman. I would happily end your miserable life here and now. Alas, Elidibus would never let me hear the end of it. Very well. If you will not part with the staff, I will take you too.
After them! Quickly! Before the rift closes!
Chrysalis unlocked. Come into the tea tree. You Moonbreeder, you beautiful, magnificent bastard. So true. Hey, Power, good to see you, glad to have you. I know I'm late, just in time. Yeah, hey. Just happy to have you. I understand why the Warrior of Light isn't voiced and all, but sometimes it just really annoys me. Here's the thing though, is like, what happens when the character Warrior of Light is voiced, but it doesn't represent like the voice or the intonation or the like performance that is how you feel in that moment, right? Like that becomes a big problem. I prefer it this way because the only way that it works without being voiced, to me, is if you define what the Warrior of Light is like. So if they did like an anime adaptation or something and they defined like exactly what the like Satoshi Warrior of Light is like, then it's fine, you know? But let's get... Oh, the meme's already in there. Virna's already in there. Don't know if that person's with us. That's Issa. Is this person interested in joining? Either way, I'm going to drink for a second. If you would like to join us for the Chrysalis, you can come meet us on Crystal Curl. We are on Crystal Curl, and we are over at the Tea Tree, over in Limsa, the Aft Castle. Why did I have to restart the game? Well, I mean, we can be here for a second. I voiced the Warrior of Light. He's me. There you go. I'm Barium. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure, invite to party, and set a friend request so I can see you around in the future. I think we've got some samurai. I think we've got a bit of samurai vibe going. So Silver Gogaku's joining, so I'll wait for a second. In the short term, let me look and see if there's anything interesting to do in my... Nope. I can do any class all about. Yeah, feel free to bring whatever you have. Maybe flex into warrior or tank or healer if we need it. But okay, guys, here's the debate. Where should I get pizza from? What kind of pizza should I get? And where? I mean, like, what are my options of pizza places? Don't worry, I'm not gonna show it, Ray. I'm not gonna like dox myself. I've got a Divani pizza, a Papa Murphy's, a Pizza Luce, Pizza Luca, Papa John's, D'Amico's and Sons. There's just a bunch of like one-off places, not a bunch of... Got Jet's Pizza. Pizza Man! It's a place called Pizza Man. I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing tonight. Dessert pizza? No, why would you my thing for like a dessert pizza is like I'm not a big dessert person in general, but on top of that, it's like I don't know, man. I don't know. Kogaku, are you getting on? I just want to make sure. Of course, I wouldn't notice that you started 3 hours ago. D&D time. Woo! Does Papa John's count as pizza? Yeah. My computer isn't cooperating. Okay, no worries. I'm gonna give it 60 more seconds and then we'll head out. We'll go ahead and get it going. As the person that was talking up Tika's Pizza, Desert Pizza is weird. Yeah. Yep. I also don't want sweet and savory, which I realize like dessert pizza is like it's made with like obviously like cake crust or pie crust and stuff. Like it's not like sweet and savory, but as long as we're not pizza snobs at Ray Ray. I'm getting ults through CT right now. Okay, so we got multiple people. In that case, I'm gonna go grab another drink then. Or actually, I got something better. I got the Deadpool. You wanna get down? Oof. Let's see. Can you see the camera? Oh, I do. Can you come here? Oh, no. Leave it. Can you come here? Wait. One. No. Hey, come here. Okay, Deadpool. Stop doing tricks before I'm doing it. Sit. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Can you come here? Can you sit? No. Come here. Deadpool. Come here. Sit. Lay down. Sit. Lay down. You're trying to get ahead of me, bud. Can you sit? Circle. Good job. Can you high five? Okay. I love that like that's all it takes to get you guys going. I personally like whatever local and cheap but still good quality pepperoni all the way. Yeah, Jubilant, that's me. That is like me. You could just copy paste that for me. Puppy, best boy, pop up, behold the boy. Here comes the boy. We've been blessed by the doggo's presence. Do you hear that, bud? Everybody loves you. You know what? Everybody loves you. Oh. Everybody loves you. Truly such a good boy. Yes. Honestly, I just put it all the places on a wheel and spin it. Also, that shelf is haunted. Yeah, I think it's just that the book's a little precarious. I 3D printed these book holders that I'm for it, and I don't think I have enough center weight in them, so I have to just add something. Or be cheap and get Little Caesars. I would, but there's no nearby Little Caesars. It sucks. The only nearby Little Caesars there was closed, and so like the nearest Little Caesars is now. I'd have to like order through an app from somewhere else and pay like as much as the pizza to get it. Yeah. There's a place within walking distance that's pretty solid. For you or for me? There's a place within walking. They have a pepperoni with spicy honey and it's super good. Are you talking about for you then, Molly? Okay, so we're just waiting on Kogaku if he can get his thing working, and we have someone transferring, right? Aurora is transferring. Okay. We'll wait a little bit longer. In the meantime, I'm going to go down to the... let's go to the merchant. Wow, is there anything in the merchant board really quick that I need? Because the thing is that there's not... Gear-wise, what's my gear at? 52. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm basically best in slot for dealing with the open world, or dealing with quests. Same with equipment. No waiting on me, working on alts. Any distance is walking distance if you're dedicated enough. As someone who used to like walk 12 miles a day, often, yeah. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started then. I'm gonna do ready check. Why is the crystal so Why is the chrysalis here, but like... Amphitheater. Why is it... What? Okay, I get that... Oh, okay, Amphitheater. No. Shouldn't that be done? What? I guess they're keeping the hards together? God, that's so messy. Steam isn't cooperating with me, so I can't even log in now. Sorry, Silver. I'm still in curl if y'all need me. Well. Oh. Whoops. We're in. I don't care if it's another state. I'm getting my goddamn pizza. Starts walking. Pepperoni with spicy honey. I'll have to try that sometime. I don't know. I don't like honey. Like I don't want sweet on my savory. I doubt for you. I forgot the near me part. No worries. What was his long-term plan? Was he gonna release her? Oh my god! It's Link! I shall not toy with you, as does La Habrea. Witness the might of a true servant of Zodiac. Writhing power of ruination, from the deepest pits of the abyss, I summon thee. Oh. Phase shift. Is it at like 20%? Is it 50? Did one of the tanks just use limit? Tilly, did you just use limit break? Why? Oh, Sense of Faith and Crystal is the only trials we have to give that don't have extreme versions. Odin doesn't. Oh, from the MSQ. I think so, because the system after that is to have it. Thornton, Bismarckus. Yeah, I think so. Because the Heavenward system is the system they go with. Then on. Quake! End of days. Spark! By Zodiac's name I command thee! River of time, mire mine enemy in the sluggish flow. I don't think, is Odin's called extreme though? I don't think it is. Am I wrong? Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's right. But it's still, that doesn't mean that it says it's extreme. So, and also it could be technically in the category below extremes, rather, unless it's literally amongst them. Because you could also argue that it came out last, so that's why it's placed where it is. Which, I mean, isn't true of other things like crystals. And we done it! Congratulations, guys. It's a victorious moment in which everything is about to go right. No, don't worry. You're good. I was just wondering if it was used intentionally, if there was like a thing I just didn't know about or something. Secret Ascian man. I don't know if it's like honey sriracha wings or something. There's lots of sweet hot sauces anyways. I'm not all that picky. You know, to be fair, I do like sweet, like hot sauces. Like I'll do that kind of sweet and savory. So I guess that's different, Jubilant. Fair point. Pepper and mushroom for me, though a little sausage is bad. I've never liked sausage on pizza. It's just too much. But like pepperoni and mushroom, I could definitely do.
You're safe. Thank the 12.
You may have bested me this day, but what of the next? What of all the days to come? Remember, light no longer holds sway here. I may return whensoever I wish, again and again and again. Eventually, you will falter, and the staff will be mine. Until next time, Scions.
There will be no next time. This is the end.
Umbrita with the Uno reverse card.
trickery is this? No, no, you cannot. No!
Imagine if you could just keep them contained in there.
Use Tube Samati to gather ether. Quickly, before he breaks free! Concentrate. Call to mind the time you struck down La Habrea with the Blade of Light. Why won't it work? Is it because we lack the blessing of light?
Damn it. So much ether. And it still isn't enough.
Fools! No mortal prison can contain me! I shall make you pay for your insolence!
Please, Mother Hydaelyn, hearken to our plea. Lend us your divine light. Why can you not hear us? Do our words no longer reach you?
No, it's because she knows.
If only we had a bit more ether.
Moonbreeder, what are you doing?
Master Louisoix, I understand now the choice you made. In death, there is life. Farewell, Eorzean. You daft old coot.
Moonbreeder, no! You mustn't!
What? No! It cannot end! I am eternal! I am immortal!
Moonbreeder. She's gone. You did it, my friend. The Ascian is dead. This device is a legacy of Moonbreeder's toils and sacrifice. I shall hold on to it for safekeeping.
Minfilia, are you all right?
I am.
Oh, we were surveying northern Thanalan when we received the distress call. We returned as swiftly as we were able.
It seems you have everything in hand, however.
What happened here? Where is Moonbreeder?
She gave her life to temper the Blade of Light. I have no words.
Rather than await the inevitable, she took her fate into her own hands.
Does Eorzean know?
My friend, there is something I must tell you.
I heard all, my lady. The moon sinketh, taking her leave of the heavens, yet her passing heraldeth the coming of a new day. Moonbreeder hath fulfilled her destiny, hath she not? Long ago, far across the seas in the Hydaelyn motherland, Moonbreeder and I did study under the sage tutelage of Master Louisoix. Full oft did he impress upon us that knowledge existeth to serve the greater good. This sentiment, however, was contrary to the nation's policy of neutrality, which censured intercedence in the affairs of foreign lands. In spite of vehement opposition, he founded the Circle of Knowing, and journeyed hitherto the heart of Eorzean. Through his noble sacrifice was the realm spared its doom. Yet this great soul, whom all should rightly have honored, was branded a pariah in his own land. His peers did accuse him of forsaking his duty as a man of learning, and of meddling in the course of history. When he left Hydaelyn behind, Master Louisoix gave no word to signal his intent to Moonbreeder. Close as they were, as master and disciple, she was deeply wounded by the sudden exclusion from his confidence. Above all, however, she was confused. Try as she might, she could ill comprehend her master's motive. The slanders that were heaped upon him after his passing served only to inflame the turmoil within her. For years upon end, she knew not what to believe. Torn as she was twixt the man whom she revered and the man who forsook her and his duty both.
The Louisoix I knew would never forsake his duty, much less one of his own.
This I know full well, my lady. 'Twas not for want of love that Master Louisoix hid his intent. He but desired that Moonbreeder discover her own path, free of the shadow of his influence. Long did I contemplate revealing the truth to her, and long did I hold my peace. After all, was it not Master Louisoix's wish that she come to the truth unaided? I told myself it was, and resolved to let her suffer. Knowingly did I deny my friend the comfort she craved. And now she hath gone to her rest, with doubt still in her heart. Speakest thou in earnest? Did Moonbreeder truly come to understand Master Louisoix's will before the end? The realization hath set her free. She may now find the peace which hath for so long eluded her. Oh, Moonbreeder, my dearest, how I shall miss thee.
Moonbreeder gave her life that we might possess the means to defeat the Ascians. Her sacrifice must not be in vain. Let us continue her work on the Blade of Ether and see it to completion.
My lady, I would mourn Moonbreeder in mine own way. I beg your permission to return to the Waking Sands.
Of course, my friend. Take all the time you require. We shall be here should you have need of us.
Oh, Jubilant! Thank you so much for the $20. Yes, I will get some pizza, and then I'll get some rest too. I think Elliot fell asleep. No, I'm not falling asleep. This may surprise many of you, but I'm actually someone very able to be, not just able to be, but quiet and thoughtful. I mean, I don't know, reflective. So no, that was more just me being very focused and attentive. Yeah, pre-Shadowbringers Orianji could do that to people. Yeah, gotta head out. Night, Jubilant. Thanks so much. I'm sorry if you missed it. Thank you so much for the money. I appreciate it so much. Especially ARJ. Hello again, all. Welcome back, Deathberry. I was able to rejoin the stream, and you come back to emotional damage. Yeah.
Never have I seen Urianger so utterly defeated. No one should be made to suffer such grief. We shall gather in the Sharlayan Manor to celebrate Moonbreeda's life and mourn her passing.
Yeah, taking the moment. Yeah, and it's yeah. More than just taking the moment, I think it's partly also just respecting the moment. To be talkative, to be high energy, to not treat the moment as solemnly or seriously as it is to me, disrespectful of it. As Moonbreeda was a native of Sharlayan, I feel it only fitting that we gather before the mark of the scholar. Are you familiar with the stone? 'Tis a monument found at the Wraithfrost and is sacred to Thaliak, guardian deity of the City of Learning. There we shall pray for our dear friend's soul, and bid her a peaceful return to the light of the Mother Crystal. As ever, I was a step too late. Was there aught we might not have done to save her? 'Tis foolish to torture oneself with such thoughts, but the heart is oftentimes deaf to quiet reason. The loss of those close to you is never easy, and Yida was closer to Moonbreeda than most. I don't want to believe she's really gone. The Moonbreeda. In the end, all we can do is cherish when people do those things of utmost importance. When they give all of themselves to stand by those things for which they believe, to make a better world, a brighter future, and one that is full of hope. And that is what she did. Whatever you want to say about it, it is within the purview of the character we knew. It's within the aspirations and hopes of the character and the woman that we knew. And it is not the last time that her legacy will not only stand as a bastion for what she stood for, but inspire those she cared about to go on and do things of even greater grandeur. Naimi and Lilies. A prayer for the dead.
Forgive me, Moonbreeder. Had I been quicker or wiser, but I was not, and you paid the price. But you would not suffer us to wallow in our sorrow, would you? You would tell us to pick ourselves up and get on with it. And so we shall. We shall defend this realm and her people to the last.
Life for death, a fair exchange. Other bargains will be struck.
As ever life begets death and death begets new life, heroes will be remembered, sacrifices big and small. It's worth remembering, too, in Final Fantasy XIV, that when you die, you return to the ethereal sea. It's not oblivion, it's not removal, it's not the end. It's just part of another journey. Big adventure. Though we have said our farewells, the pall of sadness has diminished but little. Forgive me, as antecedent, 'tis my job to be the pillar of strength for all others to lean upon. Yet I also believe the grief we feel now is precious in its own way, and not to be lightly swept aside. Do you not agree, Elio? Tis as if a dagger has been thrust into my belly. But tis a pain we must learn to bear if we are to forge ahead with our duties. The battles we have fought have taken the lives of so many. Louisoix, Moonbreeder, our fellows at the Waking Sands. Their spirit and dedication to our cause, however, will never be lost as long as we rise to fight once more. I hardly need remind you of this, of course. 'Tis for my own benefit that I repeat these words, a reaffirmation of my own chosen path. If I do not rebuild the foundation of my resolve, I am like to collapse in a fit of weeping. My apologies again, Elio. There is to no other to whom I would display such weakness. You are my pillar of strength, and I fear I shall have need of your steadfast presence in the days to come. A victory won, a comrade lost. To honor the fallen, the living forge ever on, towards the light of a new day. And that's 2.5. And on Monday we'll be doing 2.55. Will we get through all of it? I don't know. But we will definitely be done with A Realm Reborn next week. We did it, guys. One full expansion and bridge down. Only 1, 2, 3, 4 basically more to go. with all of that said, this has been lovely spending time with you as all, even though it may be sad in the parting, both here and now with us and for those characters for which we love. With that said, I've been Elio Forster Roth. Don't forget that we have stream every Monday and Tuesday for MSQ Replay. Wednesday is new videos. Thursday I take off, ostensibly. Friday, we have Lore Book Club. If you'd like to come learn more about the lore of Encyclopedia Volume 1, you can always join us there. Saturday is community event. Probably right now, while the Tomestone event's going on, community event will be focused on Tomestones because of the wonderful rewards you can get from that. Sunday is our Sloppy Sundays over on Twitch, where we do all sorts of fun, different stuff. If you like written lore, you can always check out Eorzean Archives website. If you like listening to End Talkers or Lore Talks, you can also check us out over on Spotify. If you'd like to support us, you can always drop us a couple dollars over on Patreon. It goes a long way to making this whole thing way more sustainable, and I appreciate every one of you guys. I cannot tell you how much. With that, I think that's just about everything. So I'm going to be heading out here. I'm going to go get some lovely pizza, thanks to Jubilant, Demins, Aurora, and all those others who potentially tossed a couple bucks my way. Thanks for streaming Ice Kitchen 1. Yeah, absolutely. It was great to have all of you guys. Molly, great to have you join in. Kichi, great to have you join in for those of you who are less regulars. Looking forward to... Oh, Zolly, good to see you. Glad to have you. Looking forward to hitting Heavensward with you guys. And also, we've got a... the next episode or two ain't gonna be any easier in some ways. With that said, night everyone.